Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to the show where we wax poetic about the movies we see on a month-to-month basis. It's time to crack open our
Movie
memoirs. April 2020 edition. All right, Dragon. Well, in spite of it being the end times and, we're like 2 months into quarantine and not going to the movie theater and everything. Fun times. Fun times indeed. But Trolls 2 may or may not have just killed movie theaters. We'll talk about Trolls 2 a little later on. But Dragon, surprisingly, we've still got a lot of stuff to go through. So let's just jump right into it, buddy. Let's get to, wait for it. The news. I should probably. What color do you want the banner to be, Dragon?
Not really. I don't have any. You want to do gold?
Gold. I think we usually do gold. All right.
No, so we usually do gold unless you have a better color. Yeah, go with it.
Gold. All right. What's the first docket on the news, Dragon? Take it away.
Okay, well, because you kind of tease up a little bit, Universal is up in arms. Well, theaters are up in arms at Universal, I should say. It's kind of a little war brewing here. The theater says, let's go theatrical with this, folks. There's kind of a war brewing between the theatrical system and the Universal movies with their bold, kind of release plans. Let's dish.
Oh, boy. All right, so Monkey in the comments says, could it be said that Trolls World Tour is trolling the film industry? Gets hit with tomato. Also, Pink Pearl's in the comments. Hi there, Pink Pearl.
Howdy.
All right, so Trolls World Tour. I'm actually excited to get to the movie itself, but we have to talk about the controversy first before we get to the movie. Movie comes later. Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's going to kill movie theaters by any stretch, Dragon. I think people are kind of overreacting to the situation, to tell you the truth. But it is an interesting game of chicken that we're playing here, Universal versus AMC and other movie theaters. I mean, the funny thing that I keep thinking of, Dragon, is that there's a big-ass AMC theaters right on Universal City Walk property, all right? So it's like, what the hell are they going to do once City Walk reopens? Just have a big banner like, AMC is not affiliated with Universal Studios.
So remind me, I haven't been to movies. I haven't been to the City Walk Theater since Men in Black 3. So
this is the Hollywood one, actually. This isn't the Florida one.
Okay, that's the thing. The Florida one,
the Hollywood one has a Cinemark, which I believe is probably in the same boat as AMC in regards to the protesting.
Well, no, Cinemark, I believe, is not AMC.
Well, no, I know they're not AMC, but I believe they're in the same ballpark as AMC in terms of the protesting of Universal.
Right. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it'd still be the same sort of issue, but no, in at Universal Studios Hollywood, Monkey, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the Cinemark in Florida used to be an AMC. Monkey, the one in Hollywood is still an AMC, right? Correct me if I'm wrong there. Anyways, okay, so let's see. So Pink Pearl in the comment, yeah, Hollywood's is an AMC. That's what I thought. Pink Pearl in the comment says, Trolls skipped theaters and saved themselves a lot of money, ushering in ideas that movie companies can skip theaters and to save money. And when you look deep in it, it can get bad for theaters. Okay, it means prices would rise for theaters, fewer theaters, and that fewer theaters left would get bigger to accept its bigger audience. Yeah, here's the thing. I honestly think like Trolls World Tour, it came out on streaming, it's doing okay. It's not making gangbusters. I mean, I really don't think that a company like Disney, for example, is going to look at the money that Trolls World Tour is making and be like, hold the phone. We need to release our stuff on digital right now. You know what that's just the way I look at things. I think this is a very fluid situation that we've got going on here. And I'm not talking as an expert here. I'm talking as someone who just watches, Campia every day. So I guess I'm as much of an expert as I can get with that. But, I try and follow the trades when it comes to this sort of stuff. I don't know. First of all, I feel like we've all been cooped up so much that I think if anything's going to kill the movie theaters, it's going to be the quarantine itself. You know, because just they're hemorrhaging money at this point, not being open. And I think once the movie theaters do start to reopen, I do think we're going to be experiencing a boom in the box office, especially Dragon if the movie theaters reopen by July for Tenet. I mean, we'll talk about Tenet pretty soon, but you know, if we can get Tenet up there as that big tent pole, like return to the movie theaters, man, I think that could break records. But yeah, I don't know. In regards to Universal, I can't see Universal pulling this shit with all their movies, right? Like, I mean, I can't see, let's say, for example, a Jurassic World movie going straight to streaming under any circumstances, or a Fast and the Furious movie, even though I'm not big on that franchise. I mean, Trolls World Tour, it's a fun movie, but it's not a movie that you necessarily have to see on the big screen. It's, you know, but I don't know. Hold on. Let's see what Pink Pearl has to say. No, but it got great premiere revenue. Sending it straight to home theater saves families money. That's true. It does save families money. That's true. That's true. Oh, I mean, that is a good point, Pink Pearl, about the family movies. Especially when you look at it, like, from my personal experience, Dragon, remember the hellish experience I had for Frozen 2 when I went to see Frozen 2? It's like, I don't really have bad experiences in movie theaters outside of family films. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Dragon, I'm sorry. I'm kind of talking circles around you. What do you have to add to this?
Yeah, I was waiting to see when you get to me, but...
Well, now right. You know how it feels when you talk about Marvel. I love you, buddy.
Right.
Anyways.
So I feel it's a calculated move by Universal. You know, the theaters collectively there. Sorry, it's a calculated move by AMC, and just I keep trying not to say AMC because now more theaters are getting on board with it. Just feels weird to say the theater system, but the theater system seemed to be
say the theater system at large at this point.
I guess the point being the theater system at large, they're kind of drawing a line as a calculated move is, and like they've always been kind of fearing this day would come, and just the Universal kind of flirts out the idea, hey, maybe we'll do both, and I think the theaters kind of like they go a little overboard here, and no, okay, look, we're gonna bar the Universal movies if they go forward with this line of thinking, and basically they've overplayed their hand, and now it's like Universal sounds like they're gonna go with a mat with it, and I mean. It's not that I don't think you'd imagine they wouldn't like not have Jurassic World and stuff go back into the theaters, but by the same token,
I mean, keep in mind Jurassic World's still like a year or two out, so by that
I know
time,
that's the thing. So
the movie theater situation is cleared up.
That's what I'm saying. But if it comes down to Universal making money, obviously they're going to do whatever it takes to get the movie out there. I'm sure.
Also, another big reason why Trolls had to get released, Dragon, and this is totally legitimate. They had a huge merchandising push for Trolls World Tour, like a huge push. I mean, as you can imagine, Trolls is a very merchandisable movie. So honestly, I feel like it was more based on merchandise than even the revenue that they could make from the movie itself. Does that make sense?
It does, but a part of me feels the issue might be getting a little confused. Basically, Trolls 2 being kind of the poster child for like kind of the beginnings of the whole like kind of theaters versus Universal day one, that sort of thing. Where it's, I feel that it's really an issue. A part of the issue is about DreamWorks, where DreamWorks lately it's kind of like a safer move on DreamWorks' part, which of course DreamWorks now in kind of in tandem with Universal. It's kind of so now DreamWorks does fall under Universal with this sort of business. I know I'm stating the obvious right now, just go with me on this. It's been it's kind of a weird transition still that now Universal is DreamWorks.
Oh, I know. I'm more weirded out by the fact that DreamWorks and Illuminations are owned by the same studio.
I know that's the thing. That's the my point is, I feel it's like an issue.
That's like the weird, like B-grade Disney Pixar right there, Dragon.
Basically, since How to Train Your Dragon 3 has come out, DreamWorks has been kind of not hemorrhaging, but they've been kind of grasping on for dear life with the movies, as it were. Like these movies hadn't been quite setting the world on fire. And you get something like Trolls 2, which basically people are desperate for a movie for entertainment. And again, a lot of kids call it at home. Trolls 2, I imagine, catching like wildfire to the kiddies.
# Trolls just want to have fun.
Sure. But I'm saying if this thing came out theatrically, outside like, okay, all the kids like it, and it probably would have faded into obscurity, probably been like a little blip. But now, of course, it's become a bigger thing. And of course, now the issue's been brought up and
It's
kind
a
of a
decent
grander.
movie. I think it would have done pretty well, honestly.
I mean, well, I'm saying it would have done. Maybe I think would have made more of a splash than Abominable, but that's what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying. DreamWorks' track record lately has not
Well, it
been like
definitely would have made
it's
more of a
more
splash
like
than
kitschy than.
Abominable, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like the trend has been since DreamWorks' last like true success. They've just been kind of like just been putting movies out to keep the lights on. It feels like
Right,
because now we
right.
can and we want to do stuff. We're not really hitting the mark of quality like we used to. And then of course I feel it's kind of now been kind of modern the poster child for this whole like Universal that says, you know what, we're not going to be bullied by the theaters. We're going to release them at home.
And then Claude Coringa in the comments says Scoob is following suit, and Scoob Dragon, that's actually coming
Yeah,
very soon, as far as I know. That's coming in May.
May
Like, it's
15th.
coming
Yes.
so holy crap. I mean, folks, I want to support the movie theaters, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was not excited to pay $20 to see Trolls World Tour. I will gladly pay $20 to see Scoob early. I'm excited for Scoob.
Yeah, I'm actually planning a little viewing thing with some buddies of mine. If again, we're all going to be masked up, mind you, and from a distance, but we're going to see if we can get something together there.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
All right. So is that about it?
Like the whole theater debacle, unless there's anything else you want to kind of bring to the fray on that matter, we should talk about some of the stuff that's potentially coming to theaters.
Claude's asking about our thoughts on the Midnight Gospel. Claude,
We're getting there, buddy.
TV shows once we get through news, Claude.
We're trying to breeze through the news, and we're going to get there, buddy. You hang tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we mentioned a little bit here, just to kind of expound upon, so they kind of officially call it news. Tenet. So Tenet's coming to theaters by hook or by crook, as far as good old Christopher Nolan's concerned here. It's that Tenet's going to hit I ain't releasing my movies at home. They're coming. It's coming to theaters. Even if I'm the only guy sitting there, it's coming to theaters.
Dragon, I respect this so much. I really, really hope that it's Dragon. My dream scenario is that the movie theaters open up in hopefully earlier than early July, but let's say by early July. And then everyone's waiting like, well, okay, we can go see, a weird random romantic comedy here or there that might fill the slots. But then Dragon, the mid-July Christopher Nolan release date rolls around and everyone converges on the movie theater and Tenet just blows the fuck up and becomes the biggest success of Nolan's career because everyone wants to go to the theaters.
That would be great. A part of me feels that, Nolan the artist would be, Nolan was going to think, well, they all came to me because they had nowhere else to go. I mean, how was that say about my movie?
No. Don't burden him with that existential crisis, Dragon. Oh, God.
But he's going to go there with it. A part of him is never going to be sure if that happens. It's going to be great for him.
Nolan.
That's what I'm saying. So it's going to be it's the neuroses of Nolan's going to come out there. My movie's successful, potentially, all the money coming in.
I'm still convinced that Tenet is a backdoor Inception sequel, by the way.
I mean, we'll see, okay? I'd be impressed if he did it, okay? I'm not fully shooting it down, but I highly doubt it.
All right.
Anyway, that's the thing. Tenet, of course, looks like it's going to be a great movie. And again, if you're going to have, for me, we were lucky enough, at least I was lucky enough. I think you saw something else afterwards, but I was lucky enough. My last theater experience was Onward.
I saw Impractical Jokers right before my trip. I saw Onward during my trip.
Oh, there. So
yeah, Onward was my last theater experience.
That's good. Okay, the point being, we were lucky in that we had Onward as kind of our last theater experience as a solo one. It's a Pixar movie. It's good. It's a really emotional film. It's really nice. It's fun. It covers all the bases there. And of course, imagine if the return to theaters was a Nolan movie. Wouldn't that be? That's the only way you can compensate for the lack of Black Widow in my life right now. That's the only way it's going to fill that gap.
I mean, I got to be honest with you, Dragon. The restraint would have to be there for me. But let's say the theaters opened in mid-June. I would honestly try to make Tenet the first big movie I see.
Well,
unless there's something that comes out that I absolutely have to see for the podcast or something.
there is one other concern we should voice with Tenet, though.
Okay.
With people coming in like wildfire, as they should, one, because it's a Nolan movie, two, because it's the first movie in a long time, and third, because it's summer. All these reasons they should be flowing in the theaters. Still, them flowing in the theaters, presumably when things open up, whether it's going to be immediate or not, I presume it's going to be an immediate kind of restriction put on the place. We're only going to be opening at, I've heard speculation, 25% capacity, which means which could complicate things if everyone's like going in like the Titanic's going down. It's
oh god, that's true. That's a good point.
So that's the fear I have, and that's the only thing. Like Tenet's like nothing but good news. Tenet's coming out. You think nothing but good news, but everyone wants to see it at the same time, and only like a quarter of the theater you can sit in.
Well, maybe it'll just be a situation where they just run movie theaters until like 2 or 3 in the morning to make sure that anyone who wants to see it can.
I would hope so. I don't know. We'll see. Point being, again, Tenet, big pro. Tenet's coming out. Con, I don't know when we're going to be able to see it.
Freaking Voldemort breaks out again. Voldemort breaks out again because of Tenet. Can you imagine that?
It would just be like Nolan's like again, like I'm drowning in success and I'm drowning in guilt. Success on one hand, but again, an existential question of success, and on the other hand, guilt, crushing guilt. I killed the planet. On the other hand, more successful than Endgame potentially.
Oh God, Dragon, we're putting our hypothetical Nolan through the ringer here.
That's what I'm saying. Look what you're doing to this poor filmmaker, Tiki. He gave us Dunkirk, and look what you're doing to him.
By the way, I love how that poster for Extraction almost looks vaguely like the poster for Dunkirk. It's that same sort of pose of like the soldier just stoically looking up in the midst of the action. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go. I'm veering wildly off topic here.
Okay, let's see. Let's talk about some other thing we kind of flirted around with Scoob. Let's talk about some home releases that have been confirmed. So Artemis Fowl is coming to Disney Plus, which, I was casually interested in Artemis Fowl. Like before all this stuff happened, I was thinking, hey, I might see Artemis Fowl if I can swing it. Well, now I can definitely swing it because it's coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'll check it out. We'll probably do a podcast on it.
Yeah, it looks kind of interesting. Again, I'm not really familiar with the books or anything, but again, it had kind of an impressive trailer enough, Josh Gad's in it. He looks pretty interesting in that movie as well. And of course, Colin Farrell. That's the main reason I'm going to see it. Colin Farrell, because he impressed me the last couple times.
Oh, we'll talk about Colin Farrell, my friend. Ooh, Colin Farrell's in one of my catch-up movies.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk. Okay. We'll talk about him.
And again, Scoob is being released at home, and I'm going to try to calculate kind of a nice little viewing of Scoob if I can help it. So
like I said, it's kind of like the opposite of Trolls World 2 or Trolls World 2, where it's like, god damn it, $20. Scoob, it's like, all right, $20. Not bad. Yeah. It's like the difference in price of like, just the excitement level. It's like, okay, let's do it.
We're gonna be like the only two guys in the theater saying, "Where's Red Herring?"
Oh my god.
Of course, look, I'm playing the odds straight here. We're not gonna get a Red Herring, okay?
I'm holding out hope.
Tiki, I want it so bad, but I know it's not going to happen. Okay, I can guarantee.
All I'm saying is that if Scoob is anything like the Lego movie or the Peanuts movie or anything like that, and it's like a big love letter to the franchise in general, we might get Red Herring.
Look, my heart's going to be so elated. And in the little flashback we got in the trailer, that we saw a pup named Scooby-Doo era Scoob, which excites me. We just saw Scooby and Shaggy in kind of their pup named Scooby-Doo phase. If we see a shot of all the Scooby gang, then I'm gonna be. If we see the whole gang in that style, I'm gonna say.
Then you're gonna be like on alert for Red Herring.
Yes. Then my ears are gonna be all. Oh god, I'm listening for like a Jones. Like,
God. All right.
I was busy, boy. Jones. I was out of town, Jones. That sort of. Anyway.
All right. So Pink Pearl is making a good point, Dragon, that we should probably bring up. Premiere week, theaters make no money. 90% of the box office on opening week goes directly to the studios. The week after, it goes to the actual theater. And then with internet culture, everyone wants to see it the first week. After that, most people stop going. The theater industry has been dying for a while.
Which is the sad fact of the matter, I'm afraid, yes.
Yeah, Pink Pearl. I mean, I'm with you. I do research on this too. Like I said, I listen to Campia and all those guys. So I hear you. I hear you. I'm holding out hope that things will go through for the movie theaters, but because I'm always, man. I mean, we just covered a sketch that was kind of making fun of bad theater experiences, and I've had them from time to time. Let's just say my in theater experience for Frozen 2 was less than ideal, to say the least. But still, I love that community element of going to the movie theaters.
I
And
had a
something would
really
be
weird
lost if we lost it.
community experience within the theater when I saw the Han Solo movie. When I saw Solo: A Star Wars Story for like the second time, I had like that weird thing where like a whole class of fifth graders saw the movie, and I was so delighted. They were oohing and awing at the romance parts. And I was like, oh my god,
Oh my
that's so
God.
refreshing. They're invested in the relationship. That's adorable. So cute.
I don't
Anyway.
believe we have this in the news, but Claude Karinga says HBO Max will start on May 27th.
Well,
You
that
plan
is a
on getting
fact.
that?
Well, not immediately. I will once the DC shows get up there. I mean, oddly enough, though, HBO Max is launching on my birthday, though, which is very eerie to me.
Mhm. All right. So what next piece of news, Dragon?
Okay. Next. Okay. So folks, we kind of talked up kind of the death of the theater system. Now we gotta talk up the actual deaths of some really nice people. So we lost three people last month. Let's start off with Lee Fierro, who actually passed away from said Voldemort, if you will, said kind of like pandemic-y thing we don't mention by name.
He got hit with a Nevada Kedavra.
Sure.
Sorry, that was.
You know, woman's dead,
bad
Tiki,
taste.
and you're making light of it. Good.
I'm sorry. God.
Okay, no, seriously. So Lee Fierro, for those who may not be aware, just by name alone, by all means, I won't fault you. She was the lady from Jaws who lost the child. She was the lady who slapped Chief Brody.
Mhm.
Very famous. And again, I remember I've seen a few Jaws documentaries. She always has this memorable story she tells where people would come up to her after the movie. Because remember, they shot it all in the small town she lived in. She was a local actor. When she would be seen, like people ask her to slap them.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sorry. It's kind of flooding back to me now.
Yeah, she's very,
who
she's
this
famous.
woman
Like
is.
you
Yeah.
knew, she blames poor Chief Brody when it was the mayor's fault. And of course, people are making various political comparisons to the mayor, to certain political figures, which we're not going to name. But
Oh boy. Hello, Florida.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
we're
point
gonna
being,
have these beaches open on the 4th of July.
that's what I'm saying. Again, it's like the perfect comparison for that guy too. When you think about it, at the end of the day, just like the situation that's going on, the whole like, yeah, we got to open it for the 4th of July.
Uh-huh.
Amity Park makes its money with the commerce and everything of the 4th of July. We gotta reopen things. So again, it's just odd. It's so eerie.
Pink
And
Pearl saying YouTube hates that word, the illness that must not be named.
I know.
Yeah, Pink Pearl. I'm just using the word Voldemort and I'm sticking to it. I think that's that's my branding of it.
Yeah. We don't say the C
Anyways.
word. No, we don't say the other C word much either. Still, we don't say either C word.
Well, we didn't say the C word on Rick and Morty last night, Dragon. We restrained ourselves there.
True.
All
right.
Anyways.
Okay, so of course, unfortunately, Lee Fierro, she passed. Again, it's a small role, but a very, very memorable role. Again, just oh my goodness, just again the mother of that poor, like the famous.
I remember the role, Dragon, but she's kind of one of those people where I feel like I'm gonna remember her more just from the documentaries, and the people like paying her to slap them and stuff like that.
I hear it, but I'm saying, like, again, there's the haunting scene in Jaws. She's walking the beach, like looking for her son. She's like, "Hello, where are you?" Like, she's calling out to him, and she just can't find. That's tragic. They're in that chaotic beach scene, man. It's horrifying.
All right.
And so then we have this loss really hurt me, man, because I knew this guy was getting up there, and part of me, because again he's famous for dying in a certain movie. That's why I keep wondering, like, if he's. I know for a fact he was alive because I see him pop up in a regular role, not regular, in a kind of a guest spot now and again. So I see him. Brian Dennehy passed, man. I love Brian Dennehy.
Dragon, I only have one frame of reference for Brian Dennehy, and that is the South Park movie of all.
Really,
things.
you don't? Well, you've seen Tommy Boy, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've seen Tommy Boy. Who does he play in Tommy Boy?
Big Tom Callahan. He's Tommy's dad.
Oh, okay, okay. There
And
we
again,
go.
that's what I'm
There
talking
we
about. He's
go.
famous
All
for
right. Yeah.
dying in
Now I
that
know who he
movie.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
I will always remember him for Big Tom Callan because I always loved that Tommy Boy is built on the love and reverence of like all the positive things about Chris Farley. It's like that movie's a testament to him, and again reflecting a little bit of his real life, and again presumably the relationship, a little bit of the relationship with his father, making his father laugh, and that sort of stuff. And Brian Denny, he was a
Also,
giant of a
Remy's
man.
dad in Ratatouille, according to Monkey.
Oh my God, that was Denny. Oh,
Monkey, you're gonna remember this. So South Park, remember what would Brian Bottano do when they're singing this song about Brian Bottano, and it's like it's supposed to be a weird inspirational song, and then Brian walks up and he's like, "Somebody say my name? What? Who are you, dude? I'm Brian Dennehy. No, not fucking Brian Dennehy. Dude, get the fuck out of here." Remember that bit, Monkey? Remember that bit? Member? All right, I'm done.
no, but seriously, I'm just gobsmacked right now because I can't believe I didn't think that. Yeah, he was Django in Ratatouille. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Now I miss him even more. Darn it!
Yeah.
Another great father-son story within. Oh my goodness! And again, I'm going to raise it even more here. So again, so there's Tommy Boy, there's Ratatouille, the Black. The thing I saw him in most recently is the Blacklist. He played the grandfather in the Blacklist to Elizabeth Keene, like the secret grandfather. Basically, Raymond Reddington, who's James Spader's character, has a secret relationship with her grandfather that she never knew. So that's kind of the thing. Like he would check in with him, and the idea is like Dennehy does not like Raymond Reddington because of the secrecy in this whole thing, but he knows that he had a relationship with his daughter. So that's why they have like this really estranged relationship where they always have to be in Congress and keep like a secret against Elizabeth Keene, and because like his daughter was Elizabeth Keene's mother. So that's the relationship there. And Raymond Reddington cares about Elizabeth Keene. That's the whole relationship. Anyway, the point being, they always had that really tumultuous relationship. There's a respect there. There is kind of a sense of family, but they always like, why do you keep me away from my granddaughter? Why do you do this to me? It's like, and he played like a Russian. That was great stuff. Anyway, so they're so far on the Blacklist, they're going to do. He's got one more appearance coming in the Blacklist episodes, and then of course it'll be just kind of like a reminiscence about his passing. So that's what was going to happen there. And of course, famously, he was in Death of a Salesman. He played Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman.
Oh.
One of the many iterations of Death of a Salesman, mind you, but he did the performance in a TV movie. So, yeah, Billy Loman.
Right.
Anyway, so again, tremendous actor. And then lastly, this is a really kind of like a man struck down a little before his time here with Irfan Khan.
Yeah, this guy, I really only know him from Jurassic World and a couple of other movies. But man, one of the things, Slumdog Millionaire, one. But one of the things that I really kind of knew him for is just kind of his youthful energy, especially in Jurassic World.
I loved him in Jurassic World.
Yeah, he was honestly one of my favorite parts of Jurassic World, how he kind of represented like the next generation of Hammond in a way. So yeah, this is pretty big. And this guy was a big Indian actor. I think he did a lot of. I don't know if he did Bollywood particularly or just Indian movies in general.
No, he
but
did
I know
a few. Yeah, he did Indian movies as well. Yeah.
I know he's really big in India. Like I know he's like. I don't want to say he's like the Tom Cruise of India, but I think that might be like a good point of reference for his fame. He's just like a really beloved celebrity over there.
Remember, he has a huge role in Slumdog Millionaire. He essentially is kind of our framing device, like
Exactly.
the whole game show side of things. He's the guy who's like kind of questioning. He's the one legitimizing that we've seen what we've seen.
Uh-huh.
So again, like he passed away really around age 50 or so, like 56 maybe, but way before his time. Just it's a terrible shame. All right.
All right.
But these three guys are going to be missed. And again, this month has been unforgiving, and just kind of the way it's been taking people out. So it's oh boy. All right. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So here's a recent bit of news for you. So Hercules, not just any Hercules, the Disney Hercules is they've ran out of stuff, folks. They're remaking the Disney Hercules.
God. Oh man, I'm surprised this hasn't been a thing already, Dragon. Honestly,
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, look, part of me of all the things they could remake. I mean, I was kind of hoping that at some point of all the things they could remake, they remake this. I just never thought was possible because we've had Hercules movies before in live action. I thought now they're never going to do the Disney version of Hercules and all sorts of other Hercules. Never going to happen. But again, in a post-Lion King world, I guess anything's possible now.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm excited about this, but I will say that it is one of the. I'd be more excited about a movie that was a legitimate flop that they could potentially, like rebrand and like revitalize, like a Black Cauldron or a Treasure Planet or something like that. But I mean, other than those dark horses, this is yeah, Pink Pearl. I know it does have actual potential.
I'm with you, Pink Pearl. I'm very sympathetic with you, Pink Pearl.
It has potential. It has potential.
You know what's weird? I constantly find myself in the latter half of the Renaissance films. I forget what name we give the latter half. The what was it? Do we still call them the Renaissance, or is it the?
Yeah, it's everything from until Tarzan is Renaissance, yeah.
Right. Well, that's I guess kind of the latter, like basically post Lion King Renaissance, if you will. Those are the films that seem to have the most potential in live action for a remake for me. Again, particularly, I think we've always kind of cited Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Hunchback of Notre Dame being kind of the chief among the ones that could be done in live action.
Sure.
Yeah.
Only if they take that shit seriously, though. If they really go full hard PG-13 with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Almost.
Well, sure. That's what I'm saying. All those movies, like your Pocahontas. Pocahontas, to me, didn't care for it all in 2D. They could maybe reinvent it in live action. If they change some stuff up, maybe they get my attention with that. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
All the potentials.
So, in terms of like casting and everything, Dragon, do you have any like wish lists in mind?
Well, people have flirted out the idea, and I absolutely agree with it. Let's get Danny DeVito in live action as his role, because it'd be perfect for it.
I agree with that. I think that would work a lot better than like James Earl Jones as Mufasa again, honestly.
Yeah. And again, Danny DeVito's game for anything, too, by the way.
Yeah. And he's just kind of becoming a national treasure these days, so...
Now, what'll be interesting is that James Woods has always been very protective of the Hades character, and he's always come back for the role. And again, I'm not saying we need.
Yeah, James... I would love to have James Woods back in the role. I don't really follow his politics, so I know that's a big issue. I would personally love to see it. I'd love to see him have a darker take on the character that's less used car salesman and more kind of like in line with a Hades Town interpretation. Anyways. I don't know. In terms of Hades, there's a lot of directions you can do it. Like, what about an Andy Serkis?
Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, Andy Serkis is a really great. He's an underrated actor, man. Andy Serkis can do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that because there'd be a lot of mocap with Hades. I'm just saying, like, I feel like Andy Serkis could do the, kind of like the sleazy used car salesman thing really well.
Right. Tiki, look, you gotta. Are you fiddling with your mic at all during this?
No.
Your mic's doing that thing where sometimes it adjusts. Okay, well now I think you're back now. So anyway,
I think I was probably leaning back too far. I apologize, Pink Pearl.
Anyway, okay, you're good now. Just try to stay where you are.
Sorry about that.
Anyway,
gotcha.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, people have been throwing out some casting choices here, like for example, Martin Short as Hades.
Emma Stone, Megara, sorry, Emma Stone.
I could buy that. I didn't think that's a really good one. I haven't really been overthinking the casting. It's basically the Danny DeVito thing. I fully agree with everything else. Just like some people doing stuff that I think someone said. I think someone's really dead on Ariana Grande for some reason as Meg, which I think for the singing.
Oh God, no. Oh,
which I don't really get. I don't get it either. I'm just saying I see a lot of for some reason Ariana Grande. I don't. Really
Claude the Cheetah Girls is the muses. I don't know if you're serious or not, Claude, but I could honestly if the Cheetah Girls are still around, sure, why not?
Weirdest things. Everyone's throwing out casting for the muses first and foremost because I think get all the stars. Like get Beyonce, there's Beyonce, there's someone else.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, Jennifer Hudson. There's a lot of again good choices. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's just I'm surprised everyone's going to the muses first. It shows you the impact. Every time someone brings up Hercules, they're always going for the muses,
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It could very well make a pretty good live action movie. And honestly, Dragon, here's the thing that I really want out of this. I just want it to be different, man. Just don't tell me a goddamn beat by beat story. You know what I mean? Change it up.
Well, here's
That's what I
excites
really
me.
want out of these live action remakes.
I'm with you there, and here's what excites me even more so is that Russos are involved in this. The Russos are producing this. I got a good feeling about this. That's all I'm saying. I got a good feeling about this one. You know, it's
you and your Russo love, man. It's like I don't know. The Russo that doesn't mean anything to me that they're producing.
Tiki, the Russos have never steered me wrong.
They're producers, though. I don't know.
Well, you're right. They're not in the directing. I'm just saying, you know, Russo and a movie that does have legs to stand on with a little juice from the Russos. And again, Hercules, the Disney Hercules, especially.
Key and Peele can play Pain and Panic.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But that's what I'm saying. Hercules already is a concept that has legs to stand on. And again, the Hercules movie, the thing I really loved about it is it's pretty much kind of a combination of the Christopher Reeve Superman and Rocky. So again, it's kind of a built-in superhero movie. So there is that's the cool factor about it. Again, it's about the Greek mythology that gives us all the heroes we get down the line anyway. So again, who better to produce this than the Russos? You know, short of Richard Donner producing this thing. You know,
fair enough.
Anyway.
All right.
Okay. Star Wars news, because May the 4th.
Dragon, I swear to God, did this news not come out already?
No. It was speculated. It was like in talks, and they confirmed it for the 4th. That's the thing.
Okay, there we go. Because I swear to God, I feel like we've talked about this before.
Well, the point being was we're going to make a quick note of it. So Waititi officially doing the next Star Wars movie. I assume the next one, the point being a Star Wars movie in the coming future. Waititi's doing it. And he impressed us all with Mandalorian, so why the heck not?
Yeah. His episode of Mando was definitely the best one of the season. And Thor Ragnarok felt very Star Warsian as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm down. All
right. Okay, let's see. Lastly, most recent news, I suppose. Okay, so for those, may need a little bit more elaboration than Colonel Baskin. Elaborate here. So Nick Cage has been cast, and believe it or not, Tiki, if I'm reading it right, not the only show based on Tiger King / Joe Exotic.
Dragon, we're gonna get it's gonna be like the Steve Jobs thing. We're gonna get like 3 Steve Jobs biopics and 3 Joe.
I mean, so far I hear there's gonna be 2, potentially 3. So they announced on Netflix there's gonna be one with Rob. You got nothing out of that because you're doing the leaning thing again.
Oh, sorry.
So I don't know at all what you just said.
I'm sorry. I just said with all these biopics, we're giving him exactly what he wants.
Yeah, you're right about that. So let's say Rob Lowe's got one that I believe is officially on Netflix, and I forget if that's the one where Kate McKinnon's attached, or if Kate McKinnon's attached to her own 3rd series. That's what I can't recall. Like she's supposed to be playing Carol Baskin. And the most recent thing, I think, I don't know if this is the Kate McKinnon one or not. That's the thing I can't keep it straight with all these Joe Exotic shows, man.
Oh, God.
Nick Cage playing Joe Exotic, which again, I mean, Nick Cage, he's bred for a lot of roles, especially the eccentric ones. So why the heck not? I mean, again, I still say let's go for.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I still throw like David Spade as like the Joe Exotic role. He'd be my pick for Joe Exotic, but
I'm still throwing out Matthew McConaughey, man.
Which would be good as well.
Your guy.
There are a lot of good contenders for Joe Exotic.
In terms of Nick Cage, I gotta say, I'm excited to see it, but I'm not excited in terms of like it's going to be a spot-on representation of Joe Exotic. I'm excited because it's going to be a batshit crazy Nicolas Cage performance. And I don't think Nicolas Cage is even going to really try and channel that sort of like the squeaky voice or the soft-spoken until he's not fucking Carol Baskin. You know, I don't think he's going to try and capture that. I think he's just really just going to just play into the Nicolas Cage hamminess and just be like, Carol Baskin!
It really depends on what this tone of each of these series is going to be like. Are we going to like just play it straight as like an outsider looking on the insanity, or are we going to like beat like
Nick Cage's... I can say that the Nicolas Cage one's being done by the people who did American Vandal. I haven't watched American Vandal yet. I'm gonna have to watch that. That'll probably be on my May TV.
Okay, I need you to remind me. I think I know what this is. American Vandal's like the one about like the kid who like food poisons the whole cafeteria and stuff, like the
correct, yes,
right.
And so from what I understand about that show, it's like basically it's going to try and get as close to reality as it can without it actually being reality. So I feel like it's going to be a heightened version of what Joe Exotic actually was, but it's going to be very much mirrored in the world of Joe Exotic as seen in Tiger King.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I imagine Cage is definitely playing into the heightened nature of it, and especially if it's in the American Vandal style, certainly.
Okay, I love this comment from Pink Pearl. Pink Pearl says, "My second city home has a Nick Cage tomb. He has an actual pyramid in New Orleans cemetery built for when he dies. It's become a tourist thing."
Do you know anything about this? Is this real?
No, I mean I assume it's so specific that I assume she's telling the truth about it.
And remember, Nick Cage. Everything we know, Nick Cage made a series of ridiculous purchases, which put him in debt currently. Because remember, like he bought a castle. So buying a pyramid.
Hey Dragon, you're kind of bouncing in and out right now. Oh boy.
Well, yo.
Huh.
Hello.
Sorry about that, folks.
Hello.
Can you guys hear Dragon's hello?
Hello?
Yeah?
Am I still here? Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're still here, but you really cut out.
I know, I did. What was the last thing I said? Like the illumination.
You were talking about Cage's. Yeah, you were talking about Cage's like frivolous spending.
Yes, like the man bought a castle. I buy that. I could buy that. He bought a pyramid. The location is what throws me off. That's the thing that makes me doubt it.
Okay. Anyways. All right, so that's about it for the news, right, Dragon?
Yes, that's it for the news. We're gonna move on.
Carol Baskin.
Yes. So speaking of TV things,
okay, Better Call Saul season 5. We've done podcasts on every episode. Dragon, suffice to say, the quality of the show has just gone up and up and up and up. Man, I mean. I got to admit, I need to rewatch season 1. I really do, especially because all this, it seems like everything's kind of tying back around into season 1 going into the final season, especially all the Sandpiper stuff. But man, season 5, I mean, what can we say that hasn't already been said? It's a fucking stellar season. The role reversal between Jimmy and Kim is just freaking pure poetry. Lalo Salamanca, I think, might be my new favorite villain in the Albuquerque verse. I think he might eclipse Gus Fring, especially because he's still alive and kicking, and he's going to be presumably the big bad at the end of season 6. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked for Better Call Saul. I do not look forward to the wait that we're going to have to endure. Like at this point, I'm fully prepared for Better Call Saul to not come on until like 2022. Dragon.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right about that. All I know is they're currently Peter Gould did an interview via like Zoom or something. Did like an interview with them. They're doing this fandom thing now. I believe the Screen Junkies. They're involved in this fandom thing. And basically, they're interviewing celebrities now, and they interviewed Peter Gould, and it was quite informative. There's nothing major that we didn't really know, but they basically confirmed that they're writing right now, and as they've announced so far, seems like Better Call Saul is going to return the fall of next year if they're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they'd probably be like shooting it like in February. If
I can
were on
handle
track.
fall of next year. I can handle fall of next year, but if we get another situation like we did in 2019 where it gets pushed back a whole other year. It'll be understandable because of the Corona thing. Oh, I just said it. Sorry, because of the Voldemort thing.
How can you say the C word? Kids are watching this, man.
Dragon, it's not like our videos are getting monetized anyways, all right?
Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying, it's you broke the thing.
Anyways, but you get what I'm saying. It's understandable. but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Yes. So yeah, and of course, just the whole season was utterly fantastic. We've kind of dedicated at least over 10 hours to talking about how great the show was.
Oh, way over 10 hours.
Was, yeah, way over 10 hours.
Probably closer to 20 hours.
Not all in one go, folks. Progressively over the course of the series. But we could.
We probably could have done it all in one.
We could have
easily just waited till the end of the season.
We definitely got an Emmy episode in episode 8 of this season for sure. An episode that, by all intents and purposes, should get an Emmy. I mean, if there's any justice in this world, which there probably isn't, but again, it should get an Emmy for episode 8 this season. Again, it's basically the whole season. Really, it's fantastic. I echo pretty much all Tiki's sentiments here. I love how we're sanding away Jimmy McGill into Saul Goodman, like sanding away all those pieces with Kim Wexler as the deciding factor. She's absolutely the MVP of the season. That Kim Wexler. There's some unexpected twists and turns along the way, building to a very pivotal and final season 6.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let's see. Next up, we have Steven Universe Future. All right, not going to talk. Not talk. It already feels like forever ago since I watched this. And we watched this like at the beginning of April. It must have been.
Yeah.
So Steven Universe Future, I think it has some highs and lows. But Dragon, it's really interesting that you and I are kind of on different wavelengths in regards to I feel like I like the first 10 episodes better. And you really like the end of the show, whereas I really don't care for the ending.
Look, I'll admit there's not a whole... Again, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with the giant monster thing, but outside of that, I really do like the back 10 episodes.
The hug, Dragon. The hug drives me crazy.
All right, the hug's silly, okay? The hug is silly. Everything else, pretty good. That's what I'm saying. To me, the first, it feels a little fillery. And again, not negative filler. It's kind of a little fillery towards the start of things, and it really picks up halfway through with some interesting. We go to some interesting places, and we have a really nice ending to the series. Which, considering we've done 3 endings to the series already, it's impressive we can still keep it coming. Because we have our ending with season 5, which is pretty definitive. Then we have, I guess, season 6. The point when we meet White Diamond, the whole White Diamond finale. In the movie. Then this, again, nice little epilogue ending. It's an epilogue season that went on. It's not really short enough to be the epilogue season they promised, but, it is what it is, and it gets impressive in places. Okay.
Oh, this is interesting from Claude Corriga. He says Milo Murphy has been confirmed to be cut from the upcoming Phineas and Ferb movie because they did not want everything that has happened in the film to be related to Milo Murphy's Law. Is that true? Is that true, Claude? That's funny. Because, Dragon, the whole plot of Milo Murphy's Law is that Milo Murphy is, actually an inheritant of the Murphy family curse, where the Murphy's Law is named after them, and they're just cursed to have bad luck wherever they go. So
that's clever.
It is. It's a clear show, Dragon. You should check it out.
Yeah, because of course, Murphy's Law being the whole anything that will go wrong anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Exactly.
So that's related to this family. Okay, I got you.
The only problem with Milo Murphy's Law is that they basically just puked out a whole shit ton of episodes all at once, and so Jacob and I got really lost when it came to covering it. And I need to catch up on it, though. Of course, you got Weird Al there as the main kid, and Weird Al is a lead voice actor in a cartoon. It's just delightful. So, all right.
Okay. Here's a series I watched. I would have. Here's the thing, folks. I would have included this last Memoirs, but another weird air date thing. Since you're bringing up Milo Murphy's Law. I didn't know this show was over because for the life of me, you can't find out if it's the finale or not, but I can only assume it is because there hasn't been a new episode in over a month. So, Avenue 5, which is an HBO show. Essentially, long story short, the Veep show, the guy who did Veep did this show, Avenue 5, which has a tremendous pitch, a tremendous pilot, really good idea. This is the next project on HBO featuring Hugh Laurie, who was in kind of midway through Veep. He was like a guy who was kind of running for vice president with. He was like the running mate for Julia Louis-Dreyfus' president when vice president. She was running for president, running for re-election, all that sort of stuff. Anyway,
really quick. See you later, Pearl. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Go ahead. Bye-bye.
All right, okay, so point being, Avenue 5, it's got a great sell, it's got a great pilot. Basically, we're doing a space cruise, and Tiki, I swear to God, when this show started, it was right when things were slowly but surely breaking down Elseworlds, where cruise ships were getting stalled.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And so basically, the premise of the show, I think I told you this before, in case you forgot, because it's been a while. It's been a long while since I told you about this since it started. Basically, we're in the future, and we're having cruises in space, and it's like a giant kind of space cruise ship. And you have a pilot. It's like the Axiom from Wall-E. It's like the Axiom from Wall-E. Everyone's on vacation. It's like an 8-week cruise. Something goes wrong, and then the cruise, they get off course in space, which means now the cruise has been extended from 8 weeks to 3 years.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
And again, given what's happening at the same time of this, things are slowly but surely starting to go to heck.
Yeah, sure, right.
So here's the problem. So again, the ingenious premise of the show here is that Hugh Laurie is playing a captain. He's like a face man, essentially, where he is not. He has no idea how to captain a ship, but he looks good in the coat.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea is the engineer.
I like that.
The engineer actually runs the ship, and essentially the inciting incident, when the ship goes off course, the engineer gets killed by accident outside the ship in a spacesuit. So basically, and he hired kind of our face man. He was the only one who knew that the captain was basically, he was famous for he quote unquote put out a fire, and really he just the fire department put out the fire, but he said, "Hey, there's a fire in here," and they put it out. So he got all the glory from the big cruise ship hero. So they sought him out, and he knew the engineer. That's how he got the captain job. Anyway, so no one knows, and of course, first episode we sort this out. So the Josh Gad is the guy who runs the ship, and he's an idiot. So he's it's called the Judd Corporation. He's
Josh
Mr.
Gad,
Judd.
an idiot?
That's what I'm saying. He plays a blithering idiot. who is the money man, who is the billionaire, his name's on this ship, but that's all he really contributed to the thing. He has the money, he's probably comes from money anyway. So here's the problem with the show. As I specified in the idiot portion here, because basically first episode will sell you on the show, I have no doubts. Problem is, as it goes on, this is the first season. First season's only 9 episodes, which again makes you think, well, where's the 10th? And again, you're not going to get a 10th because technically I guess that's the end of it for the first season. Problem is, I think it leans a little bit too much towards the Veep sensibilities, where Veep is a very kind of cynical show. It's about the cynicism of politics. It's people are bickering and insulting each other left and right, and basically as things get more hectic on the ship, people really kind of their unlikable, some unlikable qualities get a little magnified. And in the case, certain character traits, like Josh Gad being an idiot, he's a raging idiot at certain points in this show.
Oh, God.
And that's what I'm saying, to the point where it just doesn't mesh well. It just feels like we're trying to do Veep again in space, and with this character, you have such an ingenious premise, I think it kind of, it makes it a little longer. It feels like a little longer than it should be because of elements like that. We're just going to do in the runaround. It gets good in places, don't get me wrong. It's definitely at least worth checking out to see if you like it, at least after see if you can get past the first episode, I guess. Mm-hmm. But point is, you're living with some stupid characters a little too much. Now, here's the kicker, though. Everything changes with episode 8. Episode 8's a huge moment that makes all the idiocy becomes terrifying. That's the thing. You get to episode 8, and all the idiocy, you're kind of slowly but surely getting a little tired of. It's well, now something kind of lethal came about this idiocy, and we were building to it. And then episode 8 happens, oh my God, it's a horrifying moment of episode 8. And then you're kind of hooked into things. You get the 9, it's okay, 9 just ends a little abruptly. Certainly, we know there's going to be more. They approved the season 2. When they're going to shoot that season 2 now, I'm not sure. The point being, they got to confirm for a season 2. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting, but again, hopefully season 2 picks up a little bit more. Hopefully it keeps going that episode 8 track,
All right. Okay, Dragon, so I saw perhaps the most anti-consumer animated show I've ever watched, my friend. Oh, man. I mean, this thing, the Midnight Gospel, folks, I'm not knocking it, but this thing feels like it was pulled out of the back catalog of some 70s smoke shop in the dirty part of Haight-Ashbury, Dragon. I mean, it's this thing is it's so marinated in just hippie drug culture. Oh man, it's so weird. It's so weird. So I don't know. I'm gonna attempt to describe the show. I'm probably not gonna do a good job. It's an out there premise. So essentially the show stars Clancy. And Clancy is an interdimensional podcast host, Dragon. So essentially what Clancy will do, he's got a dimensional portal that he'll go around, he'll go to different dimensions, and he'll go to dimensions and interview people, right?
Okay.
But the catch of it is the interviews that he's doing are actual conversations, like actual, like you can tell that they're actual, like, there's no way it's scripted, right? Because it feels so, it flows together so well. Like
Recorded conversations.
Right. Like I'm genuinely convinced that they basically just took chunks of a podcast and animated it. Here's what I don't get, Dragon. There are parts of this show where the conversation will go into what's happening in the actual animation. Like, for example, I can't even, Dragon, the scenarios are so crazy and out there. If I describe them to you, you would think I was just losing my mind. All right. It's out there stuff. It's
but you're
really
saying very psychedelic stuff.
Oh, incredibly psychedelic. Incredibly psychedelic. It's so psychedelic that, like, I smoke weed. I openly smoke weed.
Get out.
And this show is so psychedelic that, man, weed doesn't do it, man. I need to be on another substance other than just weed to enjoy the show. I mean, I enjoy it for the visuals, I do. And I do think it's an interesting experiment, kind of having this podcast going on, and I genuinely don't get. I mean, I guess they must have like a general framework of how the scenarios are going to go. Like, I'll give you an example. One example is the first episode is he's interviewing the president of a world of a planet that's about to be destroyed, right, in a nuclear arms race, and so. Essentially, throughout the interview, they're trying to evacuate the White House. They're trying to evade all the people that are going after the president. Yada yada. It's like a huge apocalyptic thing going on in the background, and so most of the stuff will be conversation, and it's a big, long, kind of like metaphysical conversation about meditation and drugs and the pros and cons of legalization and stuff like that. It goes all over the place. But then every so often it'll be like, oh god damn, these cats shooting machine guns at me, like it'll refer to the animation and what's going on within the animation. And I have to wonder if they improvise that stuff and then the animators animate it, or what. It's a really fascinating process, though. Whoo boy, having said that, Dragon, never watch this show. This is not your show.
Okay.
Like, I'm a fan of trippy animation. I don't even know if this is my show. I respect it. I think it's probably got some of the trippiest and most interesting visuals this side of Yellow Submarine. It's very Yellow Submarine style. But Dragon, man, if you had a problem with Yellow Submarine, dude, like, Yellow Submarine is the most coherent, narrative-driven, tightly constructed film in the world compared to this, all right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Claude, I'm curious. Any thoughts on Midnight Gospel, Claude? Because he was asking about it earlier. In the meantime, I'll read. Oh yes. This is something that I did hear about. He says Disney Plus is in the early stages of development on a live-action origin story for Gaston and LeFou, with Luke Evans and Josh Gad and Alan Menken returning to work on it. I did not hear about the Alan Menken thing. That's exciting.
Menke.
But the funny thing about that, Dragon, is that back when Beauty and the Beast was coming out, that's all I wanted was a Gaston movie. I didn't want a total, like, beat by beat retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I was like, look, if any villain should get the Maleficent treatment, it should be Gaston. So I am excited for this. I will admit, the Gaston standalone movie I'm down for.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Dragon.
All right. There's a brief one for you. This is a little true crime series on Netflix, a little limited series.
Oh yes.
How to Fix a Drug
Netflix
Scandal.
loves their true crime, Dragon. They love their true crime.
That they do. So, this was How to Fix a Drug Scandal, and again, Tiki, if you watch the trailer for this, I dare you not to be hooked on. Like, if you watch the trailer for this, you're going to want to check out the series.
Uh-huh.
But Here's the thing. So basically, How to Fix Drugs Now, it's the story of a forensic scientist, or more accurately, like a lab tech chemist, like basically a person who logs in the drugs and kind of tests the chemicals and that sort of stuff in the forensic science lab. So you have this lady in a Massachusetts, crime lab, essentially using the drugs that she was logging into evidence. And it's a real thing that happened.
Oh no! Oh,
so that's the
jeez.
thing. It's like her just kind of basically reveal like how she did it, and how she had been doing this for years. And as you would imagine, if somebody trusted with logging the drugs and evidence in a whole bunch of cases for many years did this, that's a serious chink in the chain of custody.
Oh man, I'm already sold just based on that alone.
I mean, the premise in the story is mind-boggling, and it's a phenomenal sell. Again, trailer alone, you're going to be like, gobsmacked. I gotta watch this. It's only like 4 or 5 episodes, I think. It's like you're going to be very compelled to watch it. I don't know though. It's no Pharmacist. That's a simple way I could put it. It kind of lacks the emotional core and focus of a Pharmacist, but it's not bad though. It's not bad. It's not as compelling as. Again, it's probably Netflix just outdone themselves in so many of these things. Sometimes some overshadow others. Pharmacist, it's hard for me to put another drug-related kind of thing over that, but
the Pharmacist is a hard one to beat for sure.
That's what I'm saying. The Pharmacist is hard to beat, and I feel like Pharmacist is a little bit more centered focus, and it does everything it needs to do in 4 episodes. How to Fix a Drug Scandal, it's covering the whole gambit of story, just doesn't quite have the pizzazz of it. But again, I don't know if, in my opinion, I think the trailer maybe outshines the end product, but you might like it more than I don't know. It's good. It's good stuff, it's a great story, just I don't think it's told as well as they've done other things. So,
all right. Monkey in the comments saying, why am I reminded of Brian Griffin getting into cocaine during his days as Calls?
Yeah, it's back when Family Guy was good. Season 3 Family Guy. That's like when they were revitalized. Like, you know what? Yeah, we came back from the temporary kind of like in question cancellation. Then we got canceled after the 3rd season, and we came back for 4. And then slowly after that point, we then lost our way. So,
all right, Dragon. So the Dana Carvey show.
Yes.
Now, you never checked this out?
You know what? No, because I felt like I got enough from the documentary, and I really, until you mentioned, I didn't know it was on Hulu. That's kind of another reason I didn't.
It is on Hulu.
So
yeah,
I now know that, so I may get to it, given it's only 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's worth watching, Dragon, for sure.
I believe it.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You get the best bits in the documentary for sure.
Yeah.
But and honestly, Dragon, what the documentary says is absolutely true. The first couple episodes are shit. All right, like that Bill Clinton breastfeeding gag. No, just fast forward through that. You don't need to watch through that whole sketch.
He's got the duck.
It's just like no wonder. It's a terrible sketch, Dragon. It's a terrible sketch.
That was their opener. That was their opening sketch. That was their big litmus test. Just like, that's the kind of show we're doing here, folks.
But if you can power through it, Dragon, then honestly, like the whole show is filled with like these weird sort of like non sequitur things. Like I really respect just how out there some of the concepts are, and the characters. It kind of toes the line between being classic Dana Carvey and being really out there Dana Carvey. But Dragon, I will say, my favorite bit in the whole thing is something that I actually remember from the show when it was airing as a kid, because I remember I got the product placement humor even as a kid, was that every episode was sponsored by
I know, right? It's so cool. It's so funny.
The Taco Bell Dana Carvey show. Dragon, I definitely remember the Taco Bell Dana Carvey show and getting a laugh out of that when I was a kid. I definitely remember that. So yeah, honestly, like I'm not gonna say the Dana Carvey show is like as good as like that era of SNL that Dana Carvey was in. It's not like you're gonna be finding like hidden gems like, oh man, this is like way better than the best SNL stuff. But it's really interesting counterculture humor. Some of it hits more than other things, but it's fun all the way through.
Okay. All right, next. This is a great one, right? This is yes, this is You.
Yeah, oh God, Dragon. I'm. You know why I'm afraid to watch this one, Dragon?
Why are you afraid to watch this one?
Because I'm afraid I'm going to see too much of myself in the main character in terms of how I interact with women. I'm
Well,
terrified of that.
Tiki, I gotta tell you, looking at this, I don't think that's going to be a problem, but I don't know. I don't know. Um,
I
I
fall in
think,
love way too quickly, Dragon.
okay, well, so you, I get this. So you was recommended to us by JGI. Yeah, JGI recommended this, saying there's some similarities to Harley Quinn and the Joker, versus the real world, mainly in the first episode, the whole Frank of it all, that whole runner. So it was recommended to us, and I've been meaning to check it out for a while now. Now I kind of freed things up. I finally kind of dived into it. I figured I'd give the first season a shot, see if it can grab me, and I ended up watching both seasons. I
Oh,
tell you,
nice.
man, best way I could. This is really impressive. Really good show. It's the first season's better, so in my opinion. Though. So here's the thing. So
I
you
keep hearing it's trashy, Dragon.
that it's what?
It's trashy.
I wouldn't get. Second, again, the first season I don't feel that way about. Two, I can maybe see an argument for it. Let me put it this way. Let me describe it to you. Okay, so it's kind of like a more sociable kind of stalker. Basically, it's like a more Dexter is a very kind of antisocial kind of guy pretending to be social. This is kind of the what if Dexter, instead of being a serial killer, he was like kind of an uber sociable kind of stalker. That's kind of what it is. Like Dexter, it's like a stalker version of a Dexter. Not a ripoff, but its own thing. And oddly enough, like Dexter, it was also based on its own book series, which Dexter, of course, based on a book, and it kind of ran with its own thing. This show does something kind of similar to that. It's a very finely crafted series, particularly the first season, and how it, I assume it adapts the book really well. Penn Badgley, the main star of the show, Penn Badgley, he's electrifying as our title role, as the stalker, and again, our quote unquote hero character. And that's the most brilliant thing the show does, Tiki, where it's kind of like the Joker thing we talked about in Harley Quinn and the Joker, where we take a character who's obviously in the wrong, obviously our villain of the piece, but we frame things and kind of giving them characters by comparison that make him look better. And essentially, the brilliant art of the season is that our lead character is seducing the audience as he pursues the you character, which is basically the main girl. Basically, the main girl of the series being Elizabeth Lade.
Now, what do you mean by seduce the audience? Do you mean he does the first person thing?
Well, I mean, he's not
like
he's not
the robot narrator thing.
Well, he inner monologue breaks the fourth wall throughout the whole thing. So he's talking. He's basically narrating for us.
So like House of Cards style.
That's the thing. I mean, I think it's just more of an inner monologue, but he does it all throughout the thing, so it feels a little bit like House of Cards. So it's a little. I don't think when he says "you," he's talking. That's his nickname for the girl that he's pursuing. He's talking to the girl. That's the thing. He's talking to the girl, but we are the audience in his head.
Okay, got it.
That's the thing. So it's kind of like he's talking to them, but it's also with the "you" is kind of a double. It's kind of a catch-all where it's the girl, but it's also potentially a little bit of the audience. I don't know. Mainly, it's the point being. You is kind of his pet name for the girl, which in this case is Beck, who's played by Elizabeth Lale, who is Anna from Once Upon a Time's Frozen, Frozen Over thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so point being, he's a bookstore owner with a dark past that you kind of reveal throughout the first season, like what screwed him up. He's very intelligent because he's read a lot of books. He's become very smart over the years. It's just so impressive how he's basically warned by the first guy. He tries to defend the girl's honor by going after a guy who kind of treated her wrong in the first episode. And the guy warns her she ain't perfect. And essentially, throughout the season, you kind of see the chinks in the armor of the girl that he's idolized. He's put on this pedestal. And you kind of see the flaws in her. And it's kind of like leading to this perverse thing where it's like you're kind of empathizing with the stalker even though you shouldn't.
Oh, God.
And that's the thing. And the whole thing is it's this perverse idea. Like, how do you kind of make a stalker likable? And the answer is you play into it, but you never sugarcoat what he's doing. You show the full horror of what he's doing, but again, you kind of see it from his perspective because of that framing, because of that whole inner monologue. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting stuff. At the very least, Tiki, I'd recommend the first season. Season 2, let me put it this way. Season 2, I think, is good. If you're into the show, you might go for it. It's good, but it gets really convoluted with kind of a big twist at the end of the first season where there's an X that comes into play, and there's a twist at the end of season 2. By the end, things get a little convoluted, but the first season, though, it's really interesting stuff.
Okay.
So I'd highly recommend the first season to everybody out there. It's good stuff.
All right, so Dragon, you've got a few more to rapid fire through. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay, believe me, these are absolutely rapid fired. Okay, so
All right.
Manifest season 2, and these just kind of wrapped up in in April, so I can figure out to cover them. So Manifest, I think I've told you about it before. It's kind of like Endgame meets The Leftovers in terms of your device for this show. People go on a plane to Jamaica, the plane disappears for 5 years, and they come back. And again, the world has
Well,
moved
yeah,
on.
you have. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Stars Josh Dallas from Once Upon a Time. Oh, I love that guy. He's kind of the main reason I watched the show. And Melissa Roxburgh, who plays a sister, like the Stone siblings. So they're dealing with these season one. We set up like how the world works. They deal with these callings, which basically is kind of like a psychic. Like they're all unified. They all get these callings about to essentially to help people. So far, it looks like they all get a callings, like these little clues, these little cryptic glimpses and little visions of like how they could potentially help you. A little that's so Raven, if you will. They try to solve a mission. They're trying to solve the mystery of what happened to him. That's the main reason. That's the main traction that Manifest gets. Everyone wants to know like what the heck happened to him. How they disappear for 5 years and come back? Are they undead? Like what the heck happens? And season 2 continues that. And
Sounds
there's
kind of lost-ish too.
That's what I'm saying. There's definitely a lost vibe I think you'd like about this show, Tiki. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so point being, season 2 continues the conspiracy angle because again, some people are really the government entity is trying to figure out what happened to these people, and we're trying to unravel that here. And then we set up there's a it looks like the show is trying to do a 5-year mission. It looks like they're hoping they get picked up for at least a couple more seasons to unravel the mystery. It looks like it because they kind of set up a device in season 2 that it looks like they're all gonna die in 5 years. It looks like, and again, this kind of adding to the mystery. We have to find out what the heck happened to us, or else we're all goners in 5 years. So I think overall people are into the show because America just wants to know the how. America wants to know the how, and it's kind of this. There's some stuff that throws you for the loop. I'll put it to you that way. It's we tease at the end of the season. We tease at like how we think things have happened, and it throws you for a loop. Like, oh my god, you have to get a season 3 to find out because now we thought we knew the answer, and now it's like there's complete thrown. Like, how the heck is it gonna? We know nothing again. So it's I don't know. It's still a pretty interesting show. Okay, this one is one I absolutely recommend to you. Killing Eve.
I need to check this one out, Dragon.
So Killing Eve, the long and short of it, Killing Eve is kind of a
It's
team
on
up.
Netflix, right?
No, not on Netflix. On Hulu.
Hulu. That's I knew it was somewhere. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So it's on Hulu. It airs on AMC. Like the new season's airing on AMC as we speak. It'd be AMC and the BBC. It's a BBC show. They have like a deal, so they air some BBC stuff on AMC. It's kind of the team up they got going on there. Point is, the Emmys are warranted, folks. It's a really good show. I hear based on a novel.
I love Sandra Oh, Dragon. I'm drawn to Sandra Oh from Sideways, of all things.
She's really good in this, man. She is. So here's the thing. Save Sandra Oh as Eve. She's the Eve of it all. And you have Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer, she plays the book series is called Villanelle, and that's her character. She is Villanelle. She's kind of the whole focus of Eve. And the long and short of, in terms of, I just had to boil it down to you, is that it's a very Hannibal-esque. It's very Hannibal-esque. Not Silence of the Lambs, but the second movie. It's a lot like Hannibal, the movie, where it's these two figures that are really in each other's lives and become obsessed with each other. And it's more like the Hannibal book, where first season you and I for God knows how long in our Daredevil recapping, we've always kind of put up this kind of fun version of Elektra that we kind of want to do our shorthand impression of Elektra. We kind of make her cute. Like, hello, Matthew. We want the splishy splash in the blood.
Oh God!
Basically, this assassin with a very childlike view of the world, very just kind of like
oh man,
very very childish view of the world. And essentially, that's Villanelle. That's the Jodie Comer character. She is everything we've ever joked about Elektra. There's a lot of blood. She's not necessarily splishy splashing in the blood, but she spills a lot of blood, man. And she has she'll do a lot of childish things. So that's the main sell for you right there, is that it's everything we've ever said about Elektra in a character that Eve is trying to stop. And basically, we learn that the Villanelle character is obsessed with Eve. And throughout the first season, again, I highly recommend to you, because first season unravels the mystery. Why the heck is she obsessed with this Eve character? What's in her past? What's in her psychology? What's the deal there? Season 2 is very much like the Hannibal book, where it's it's basically Villanelle trying to win Eve over to her side. That's what season 2 is. And I love the show. There is one reveal at the end of season 1 that I still just can't make heads or tails out of, where I won't say exactly what happens, but basically the boss, the MI5 boss, we learn something about the big boss of Eve's boss, which doesn't quite track, and I don't know what she knows, what she doesn't know, like going forward, and they never really answer what the deal is there. So that's the only hiccup I have in the whole thing. But it's a pretty good show. I think you might get a kick out. It's only 8 episodes per season, so.
Okay. All right.
And lastly, Prodigal Son. This wrapped up. Oh my God, I've been hyping up Prodigal Son even throughout Better Call Saul with all the Viola stuff, man. Prodigal Son, love this show. It's finally wrapped up.
Oh, this is a Viola show. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so this is the one that Viola's on. So I love this. I really dug this show, man. This is what they've used to replace the Lucifer on Fox, essentially. This is really good. Michael Sheen, he's electrifying in this show, man. He's great. He actually plays a Hannibal Lecter in the show. He plays Hannibal Lecter, but Hannibal Lecter as a loving father.
Ooh.
So he's literally proud of his boy every episode, Tiki. That's the thing. The whole thing's proud of your boy, Hannibal Lecter. God. So imagine if Hannibal Lecter was proud of his boy in the form of like Red Dragon with Will Graham. And essentially, Will Graham is his son in this case.
Yeah.
Wholesale the show is Malcolm Bright. He is the son of the surgeon, which is Michael Sheen's character. And he essentially, the boy had an ethical call. The cop came to his house. The boy said, "My father's a serial killer," and he arrested his father. And of course, he always kind of bears the guilt of his father now in a Hannibal Lecter cell. But again, his father killed like 23 people. And it's always like the father was so loving. He never expected his father to be such a monster, and he's been really traumatized by it. He has like a lot of PTSD in his life. Like he has to be chained down because he has night terrors and has to wear a mouth guard. He's really traumatized by what happened with his father. But he's also a criminal profiler because he's been so close to a serial killer. He profiles serial killers. So you have a lot of fun characters like Viola. Again, Kiko Elena, I believe her name is. She plays the Emmy, the medical examiner, all the crime scenes. She kind of has a schoolgirl crush on Malcolm Bright, which is adorable. There's some really fun characters like Malcolm's mother and his sister's House and Sage from the Orville, and I love the Orville, love her in the Orville. So he has some really colorful characters in his mother and his sister. Basically, there's a Lou Diamond Phillips plays the father figure cop that again he kind of saved his life by telling him his father was a serial killer. So that's kind of like that he's his boss in the show. I don't want to just go on about like telling you all through the show because you really got to watch it for yourself. I'm sure you can probably catch up on Hulu or something. It's good stuff. Because of the way the shows are going right now, because of the thing, all shows have lost about 2 episodes. So they got their finale. Thank goodness they got their finale, but they lost like 2 episodes building up the big bad guy for the finale. It's an exciting new show, man. It's a lot of fun. Episode 14, man. I'll hype that up for you. If you watch it, episode 14, something really big and awesome happens, and there's a huge, gobsmacking, shocking twist in the finale. You gotta see. It's like makes you hope for a season 2. I love this show, man. I hope it gets a season 2. Love it.
Where can I find it?
Well, it comes on Fox. Chances are you can probably catch up on Hulu if you're lucky.
Hulu? Okay.
Yeah, might eventually come to Netflix if it's not on Hulu, but definitely worth looking into because Michael Sheen, man. You know me. We love some Michael Sheen. You're going to love him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have the April 2020 movies, Dragon.
Yes.
Right. So let's go ahead and start with the Willoughbys.
Yes, the Willoughbys. We both saw this.
Yes. I quite liked it, Dragon. I'm not over the moon about it. I'm not over the moon about it the same way I'm over the moon about, let's say, Klaus, for example.
Of course.
But I do think it has a really interesting style to it. The style really is the thing that I'm most drawn to. Kind of like this, it's almost got kind of like a Wes Anderson look, don't you think? How a lot of it is like fixed camera angles and almost like 2D and 3D and stuff like that.
I love the style of the animation style. I love like the yarn effect, like the texture mapping of the whole film looks tremendous. Again, here's the thing, it's so hard to tell if it's stop motion or not because I can only imagine it's computer animated, but then again, it could be.
It's definitely not stop motion.
That's what I'm saying, but I love that the animation looks so much like stop motion, though.
Right.
With the yarn hair and everything, the texture mappings looks like it's something you can get from stop motion. It's really impressive.
My issue kind of comes from the characters and to a lesser extent the story. I think it's got a clever setup, and I do respect how cynical the whole thing is. I don't know. With the characters, I don't really think there's that much to set them apart and really make me I mean, I appreciate the plight of the kids, but I don't think individually they have that strong of personalities between them.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, it's interesting. This is based on a book series. Well, a book by a children's author, Lois Lowry, and her whole gimmick with her books is that she explores serious topics through children's books, and this one, I guess, would be like parental neglect, perhaps.
Oh yeah, gotta be, yeah. So I mean, it's I don't know. It's a movie with excellent style. I don't really feel like the heart or the X factor is really there with it. Like I said in the say, I don't want to keep comparing it to Klaus, but
Well, I mean, here's
second.
why I come down on it, Tiki, is that I agree with you until Maya Rudolph enters the picture. That's when we start to save the movie a little bit. That's when the nanny comes into play. That's the movie I'm there for. Otherwise, I'm thinking, okay.
You see, I wanted more of her, Dragon. I wanted more of her. That's the thing. I feel like she almost kind of comes in too late. Like, you're right. She is a great ingredient that they bring in, but...
Because I was thinking, oh man, this movie, it looks great, but I don't know if it's grabbing me. Then she entered the movie. It's like, oh boy,
yeah.
this is the Maya Rudolph character. What do you know? This is a lot of fun. Okay. And we get Terry Crews, man. We get Terry Crews as a ridiculous looking, awesome character as this giant, like, General Lissimo Candyman. You know me, I love me some Terry Crews. I love when he shows up in things. He's actually doing an animated movie. Well, again, I don't know if it's in pushback or whatnot. He's doing this giant monster movie with Will Arnett that looks really, really odd. But it's anyway. Sorry. Point being, yeah, there's some interesting stuff in this movie. The moral, I think, of the movie is that sometimes it's got a decent moral. And moral is sometimes parents are just bad people.
Yeah.
The sad but true to life lesson. It's
very adult moral when you think about it.
That's what I'm saying. That's the interesting thing about this. I feel like we're trying to strike a series of unfortunate events balance, but it's just too. It's not quite striking that balance. It's like it's not as grim as the series.
It's not striking the balance specifically, I think, because it doesn't have the heart that series of unfortunate events does.
Yeah, or at the very least, it has the heart maybe a little too late in the game, or like basically the point where it's not sure like, if it wants to be full series of unfortunate events or it wants to be full kind of a fluffy piece. But again, it's like I like the fluffy piece, but it's not quite. Mine's made up at that point, I guess. It's like what if we addressed like the Fairly Odd Parents parenting style in a movie? That's kind of what this movie is. It's
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, so you saw Extraction and Dragon. This movie just looks so generic. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I'm sorry.
You didn't.
I'm not a big.
You didn't watch the 10 minutes, did you?
Guy. No, I did. I'm not a big action guy, Dragon. I'm sorry.
All right, okay, look. Well, okay. So Extraction, I liked the Extraction. I didn't love it. It's It has an action movie director here with Sam Hargrave. Sam Hargrave.
So why would I go out of my way to watch it then?
Let me rephrase that. It's an action movie directed by Sam Hargrave, who was a stuntman from Captain America: Winter Soldier and Endgame. So, point being, we're starting to kind of do some other movies, kind of in the style of a John Wick, where you have the stuntmen direct an action movie, which sounds like a really no-brainer of an idea. Like, yeah, have the stuntmen who know the action business direct the movies.
Right.
It's produced and written by the Russo brothers. They had some fingers on this. And I do see some of the Russo qualities in this that do kind of come across. Stars Chris Hemsworth. So, again, I had a lot going for it. People are, I don't know if you're aware of this, people are loving this movie.
Man, I tried. I don't know.
You just told me you didn't try, so you didn't get through 10 minutes.
No, I literally didn't get through 10 minutes. Even, I don't know. I don't see the appeal. It's just very generic to me.
Okay, well, again, I'm not going to argue with you that it's not reinventing the wheel on things here, but here's what I liked about it, okay? I really liked that. So Hemsworth is in this role basically, and as you know, again, I don't know how far you got in it, so I'm going to say less than 5 minutes, I imagine. Point being, Chris Hemsworth, he plays kind of this hired mercenary tasked with saving kind of a drug lord's son, Ovi, the kid's name is, and extract him, hence the title, Extraction. Extracting the kid from a dangerous location right now. It's I think the action's top notch. Again, kind of within the new John Wick thing. I love. There's a Wonder sequence that looks very amazing. I wish you could have seen the Wonder, Tiki. That's all I wanted you to see. I just wanted you to see that sequence where basically he has the kid, and I want to say from the moment he grabs.
Well, I wanted you to see the runner in. I wanted you to see the runner in not Easy A. I'm sorry. Booksmart.
Well, Penn Badgley's in Easy A. I'm sorry, you were talking about Booksmart, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Booksmart. Yeah,
There's a Oner in Booksmart.
Yes, there's a Oner in Booksmart. It's a really good one. It's a really good one.
I think it's the first time I mentioned the Runner in Booksmart. You keep telling me about.
Oh, I definitely mentioned the Runner when I talked about it.
Are you saying Runner or Oner? Because I'm saying Oner.
Oner.
There's a okay. I got you now. Okay, all right.
It's a really good scene.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry.
So, okay, my point here is that there's a really great scene. I want to say from the point where he gets the kid, we have this chase sequence that goes on, and again, it just doesn't cut, and like a lot of really amazing things happen during it. It's a lot of some really dynamically shot action. So it's really great. Here's the remarkable thing. Here's like the main remarkable quality I think that would grab you if you gave it time. Which again, not forcing you to it, but if you watch through it if the stars align and you watch through it, here's what I imagine might grab you. The remarkable thing to me is that Hemsworth, was doing drama, and of course, I love when Hemsworth does drama, like akin to like what he did in Infinity War. I love what he did in Infinity War. I think it's some of Hemsworth's finest performances in the MCU is what he did in Infinity War. In that scene with Rocket Raccoon, particularly, that's the perfect balance he struck here. And this is he's playing like I think a lot of stuff jumped out to Hemsworth in this movie because he's playing like an ex-Australian special forces guy, which obviously relates a little bit to him. He plays a character who was a father, which Chris Hemsworth is. And again, he's playing this tragedy of a character who kind of lost his way in losing his family, lost his son in a very tragic way. He is, the movie just seems like it kind of like the kind of called to him kind of as he plays this hollowed out mercenary of finding humanity through this mission and saving the kid that is kind of a fill-in for his son, which is really kind of moving. It gets really tense in places, man. It gets really tense, less in the action sense, though, more like the kind of the motivation behind the action. When it's like this, it's some interesting scenes, and I'll spoil it here for you. Fingers on the ears, folks who may not want to be spoiled here. David Harbour's in the movie. He has a really interesting scene for Hemsworth. There's a really great scene with David Harbour, and this is where we get to the moral complexities of things. Where David Harbour is trying to make a hard choice, and Chris Hemsworth, now having developed a conscience, does not want him to make this really tough choice, and it leads to like a really interesting scene. That's what I'm talking about. When we get to the moral complexities, especially kind of the midway to the back half point, things get really interesting, and the action definitely mounts in places. I don't get the criticism people are lobbing at it, though. Like some parents, I guess, are saying it's too violent. It's too violent. Well, what do you expect? It's an R-rated movie on Netflix.
I think the movie is very violent, and it is upsetting for my children.
If I was going for, you did it better. Okay. But that's the thing, though. It's just so.
My children thought they were going to see a Thor movie.
For anyone who says this movie is too violent, again, R-rated Netflix movie that advertises in the little corner at the top, bloody, violent. What do you expect? So the point being, look, I think the movie's good. I think it's well made. It's not great though. It's not Yates. They're talking about making a sequel to it, which I think it's going to be dicey given how the movie ends. I don't think it's going to get a sequel. I mean, if they do, they're talking about a prequel, a sequel. I don't think it's a good idea, but I guess Netflix money for it. They're going to toss money at anything if it gets the attention that it's getting now. Because I think right now, I forget if it's number one or something. It's like now they're lining up like the numbers on this thing. It's getting a lot of traction. I don't know.
Yep. Okay, well, Dragon, as I keep hyping up, I saw Trolls World Tour!
So how is this?
Dragon, I liked it a lot better than the first movie, and I liked the first movie okay. I think the first movie kind of falls apart in the second half, but I like the setup. I enjoyed the characters in the first one, especially I think Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick had good chemistry with one another, and the characters of like Anna Kendrick being the over-the-top happy troll and Justin Timberlake being the cynical troll. It's good setup. And Trolls World Tour, Dragon, I got to admit, I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, is it like a masterpiece of animation or anything? Is it like a new standard for DreamWorks movies? Of course not. Of course not. But I will say, first of all, we have to talk about how freaking good the design in these Trolls movies is, man. I don't care how you feel about the pop songs or the characters or anything like that. I absolutely love the aesthetic of these Trolls movies, Dragon. I do. Especially just kind of the handcrafted feel of everything. Dragon, there's like moments in this movie where they're like running around the country western troll kingdom, and you see just like giant blankets just piled up to make mountains and stuff like that, or you know, like they're in a jail cell and they start trying to dig out of jail, and you know they strike a hammer into the ground, or I'm sorry, they strike a shovel into the ground, and what comes up with is just a bunch of fluff and cotton, implying that the whole universe is made of fluff and cotton. Like, Dragon, I love world building like that. I really do. I dig the aesthetic of this movie so much. It's so fun to look at. And the plot is okay. All right? Like, it's nothing great. I will say the plot is basically the Lego movie again, you know, where you've got the different kingdoms and it's kind of a globe-trotting adventure, and there's the one kingdom that wants to take over all the other kingdoms. It's not anything we haven't seen before. What I do like about it is that it does get you a good variety of music and settings. Like I think I think it was interesting how all the different trolls had different appearances based on their music. So, for example, the electronica trolls were kind of like these weird fish creatures, and the country music trolls were kind of like these centaur horse people, you know, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, Dragon. I will say, out of all the movies that are clearly just trying to rip off the Lego movie style of like, hey, let's go on a globetrotting, very marketable adventure through different kingdoms, this one's one of the better Lego movie ripoffs. I'll say that much. I'm not going to put it much higher than the category of Lego movie ripoff because it really is. But yeah, the funnest part of the movie, Dragon, is the rocker troll. She's a great villain. And at first, I thought that what they were doing was they were basically pulling an okay boomer of like, oh, look at these rockers who think that they're above everyone else, you know? But really, what I like about the Barb character is that Barb is really pointing out criticisms of like how empty and shallow pop music is. And one of my favorite lines is, you know, Poppy, the Anna Kendrick troll, is all about like hugs and friends forever and stuff. And Barb just goes on this really great, like, kind of tangent about like friendship doesn't happen instantly. Friendship takes years of cultivation and mutual respect. And I'm like, yeah, right on, Barb. Tell her. And I do think that this movie does a better job of handling the Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick dynamic than the first one did. Because the first one, it basically ends with like, yeah, let's all hug it out. And Justin Timberlake was wrong for being cynical, even though he had really good points. In this one, Justin Timberlake still has really good points, still is cynical, and actually gets the right word in the end. And, you know, Anna Kendrick troll actually has to learn from her mistakes this time around. So it's not a great movie, but it's a lot of fun. And in terms of animation, it's gorgeous, Dragon. Just stylistically, I thought the first one was a lot of fun, a lot of good colors and everything. This one is gorgeous to look at. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say like go out and pay $20 to see it, but I would say like if this ever does come on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that, I mean, Dragon, it's a hell of a lot better than Abominable. I'll watch this movie any day of the week over Abominable. So that's all I've got to say about that.
Is there a jazz troll?
Oh my God, yes,
Yes,
Dragon. Oh, he's amazing. There's a smooth jazz troll. And the only way I can describe him, he's kind of like the Pied Piper from the fourth Shrek movie.
Oh, God.
He's like a bounty hunter who seduces the trolls with the smooth jazz, Dragon.
God.
It's wonderful. Honestly, one of the funniest parts of the movie.
You're going to bring up the Pied Piper from Shrek. I keep thinking of like, it's time to pay the piper.
No, come on, pay the piper.
My checkbook. It's time to pay the piper.
all right. But yeah, like I said, Trolls World Tour, I mean, you know, it may or may not have killed the movie industry as we know it, but I liked it. I did.
Well, to be fair, against the kill a movie industry, it's going to kill like kind of the old
the way
historic.
I delivered that sounded like the Joker when he's like, a little fight in you. I like that.
See, every time I hear I like that, I think of two things. I think of the Joker saying, a little fight in you. I like that.
I
Of
like
course.
that.
Flip side of it, I keep thinking of Ed Wood saying "I like that," where he's like writing the script and
Right.
says, "Oh, I like that." Just like all happy-go-lucky, just typing it. Okay, anyway, so Ed Wood references aside here. Okay, I got a rant here for my next one.
Oh God.
Oh
Okay.
boy, I've been sitting on this one. Rage egg, this one. Oh boy. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna try to rein this in. Okay.
Dragon isn't
Coffee.
usually like pissed off about movies, folks.
Yeah, I'm real. Coffee and Kareem.
I know nothing about this thing, Dragon.
You're the lucky one, my friend. You're the lucky one. If there was a neuralizer, I would rent it out, but apparently Universal's tied up in woe with their current theater experience right now. Anyway, so oh boy, Coffee and Kareem is a Netflix movie. It's on Netflix, and it's disappointing beyond belief for me. It's very rant worthy. My assertion of it. Oh god, this is so you have Ed Helms, you have Taraji P Henson. You know, I mean, I like some Taraji P Henson. Unfortunately, this is a waste of time. Taraji P Henson yet again, and that's a shame. It's just wasted utterly. Any good stuff Ed Helms can do, just it's not there. We just kind of make we do ladder office Ed Helms, and that ain't nice.
That ain't nice.
I'm saying, seriously, you see what happens to latter day Ed Helms. It really, what they did, they made him like just this horrible caricature of what he used to be.
Oh, I know what they did.
That's what I'm saying.
Did,
like,
yeah.
I used to like Andy Bernard and that whole story, and then of course he's like made it anyway. So I didn't love him or anything, but I liked him. And he's like, hey, they redeemed the guy like the White's enemy. That was kind of nice. And then ultimately for not. Okay, made a fool out of him on American Idol. Was stupid. All right, so. Okay, so I was sold on this from the description. I saw the description. I saw like some TV spots. I didn't fully glean all three characters, so I saw Taraji P Henson. I saw Ed Helms. I knew the main character had a son. Let me put it this way: the character I saw, I did not know was going to be her son. So I had a vision in my head based on the description, based on that trailer, which is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like a quick cut trailer. Description was, and tell me if this sells just by description alone. Okay, you tell me if this sounds remotely interesting to you. Okay, so you have a son who is Taraji P Henson has a son. That son is jealous that her mom is dating a very milquetoast, kind of cop with a mustache. Dating a cop with a mustache as her boyfriend. He kind of catches him presumably in Flungrata, which as we know
is it safe to assume that this cop with the mustache is Kareem?
No, that's Ed Helms. Ed Helms is the cop with the mustache. And I'm sorry, well, no, he's not Kareem. Kareem's the son. He's Coffee. He's
Kareem's the son. Okay.
Yeah, so he's the Coffee, and then they kind of reversed it, as you can probably guess. They kind of went for the
wow,
Coffee and Kareem, but they reversed the. Yeah, it's stupid. I know.
Wow, that's really dumb.
It's going to get dumber. Just bear with me, okay? It's going to get dumber. So here's just the premise. Okay, so mom's dating a cop for a boyfriend, which already is kind of frowned upon. Anyway, so he's not happy about it, let alone that he's a cop. So what he does is he tries to put an end to it by essentially trying. He tries to put the fear of God into him by going to a gang, and essentially through mishaps, the gang puts a hit out on him. So the two of them, it becomes a buddy movie as the two of them are on the run from the gang.
It becomes a buddy movie?
Well, that's the sell. Before you even see the movie, that's the idea is like they're on the run through the course of them running on the course they were supposed to be friends. And that, as a premise, like I could see something.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Kind of an unlikely partnership that would probably, you know what I mean, evolve in them becoming cool with each other. Unless, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson. I get you.
Sure, that's your premise. And I like a good buddy movie. I like a good, okay, it's out there. And again, it has Ed Helms and Taraji P Henson. I'll give it a shot. But again, it can't be simple. Why can't it be simple? Why can't we just stick to the simplicity of that person? Now, of course, with her son, I'm thinking like a 16-year-old kid, right? I'm thinking like, son, older, I imagine to be as riled up and have gang connections. I imagine like 16-year-old kid, perhaps. I don't know, like 16, 17. The point being, like, Tiki, I wish I could tell you it wasn't. I wish I could.
Oh my God, you seem genuinely traumatized by this thing.
I'm just angry at it, man. So here's at the end of the movie, I saw the director's name and I looked up the director's name and I was horrified and felt so stupid that I throughout the movie I kept having one thought. This reminds me so much of this other movie I was really disappointed in, and I found out it was the same director.
Oh no!
The man who Stuber.
Stuber. Oh God. Oh
And you know my
no.
feelings on Stuber. Again, same thing happened, Tiki. Trailer sold me.
Stuber is like the textbook dictionary definition of like a nothing movie.
See, here's the thing. Stuber had looked like there's a fun time in that trailer. Very simple buddy movie premise there. Cop,
It
Uber
could have been
driver.
like a Hitman's Bodyguard, Dragon.
That's what
It
I'm
could have been
saying, like a
last year's
Hitman's
Hitman's
Bodyguard, or
Bodyguard.
like Die Hard in an Uber. I was expecting something maybe like a quasi Die Hard in an Uber, like cop and an Uber
Right.
driver lumped in for the journey.
And
That's all I want.
When our point of reference is Hitman's Bodyguard, folks, we're not asking for much.
Yeah, and again, I had a good time with Hitman's Bodyguard. Not much, and there's supposed to be a
No,
sequel to that.
I did too.
Yeah, and there's a sequel coming for that, which probably has been delayed, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, point being, Stuber, I just wanted something. I literally wanted the trailer. Trailer was perfect. Trailer was okay, not much, but again, I'll take it. I just want like a fun buddy movie and perfect pairing. Dave Bautista, Kumail Nanjiani. It's that's great. Movie. It complicated everything with the stupid plot, which made no sense. It's just like I just can't have my simple cop going on adventure. No, we got to convolute everything. And anyway, so we do all of that again here. It's so Michael Dowse is just a filmmaker. If I see that guy's name, I'm running for the hills again. If I see his name again, I'm running for the hills. So here's where things, you're probably wondering how things got so bad. Here's how. I'm going to try to colonize it. So Kareem is not like an average, teenagers dealing with his mother growing up. No, 12-year-old kid. 12-year-old chubby kid with dreadlocks who, again, in the trailer, I was expecting this like teenage son. I got like, essentially, it's like Good Boys on. I haven't seen Good Boys. You have, so you can probably tell me if this. It seems to me, having not seen Good Boys, just seeing the trailer for Good Boys, I would imagine this is basically, Kareem is like Good Boys on steroids, but probably without the cleverness of Good Boys. Does that sound right?
I mean, it sounds right, but let me just point out that Good Boys is not that clever.
That's why I asked, because I have no idea if Good Boys is clever.
I think you're being like Good Boys is not that clever in its own right, but this is even less clever than that.
Having not seen Good Boys, I would just make that assertion, but regardless, it's not good. That's my point. So
yeah.
So I mean, basically, there's. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm trying to pare it down here. So the comedy just keeps deferring to this. There's a rule of thumb within the comedy, just sounds really stupid. It's that the comedy keeps deferring to, we have a rational cop here who, again, just dating the kid's mom, and basically the whole thing starts like, hey, can you pick the kid up and bond with him a little bit? Okay. Yes, he wants to do right by her. It's like, okay, I'll give it a shot because I really love this woman. Yeah, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. He tries to make nice with the kid. Obviously, kid's just very, and the point is they made the kid like Good Boys. He's very overly street. He's cursing up a storm. Mm-hmm. He's foul-mouthed. He's acting like he's being very disrespectful to everybody in the classroom. I want to punch this kid in the first couple minutes of the movie.
Oh, no.
And now, and then, so basically, Ed Helms is trying to make an honest-to-goodness attempt here, and basically we defer, as the rule of thumb for the whole movie, anything our rational cop character says here, he's wrong and stupid. He's just wrong and stupid at every turn in the movie, mainly because he's the white guy. No one else is going to say it. I'm going to say it. That seems to be the rule of thumb.
God.
I'm sorry. That's the rule of thumb of the movie, because again, he's making valid points, and again, it's not his fault for any of this.
So it's a Tyler Perry movie?
But probably worse. Probably worse. And it's just not fair. It's like, just we defer it. We make this guy stupid and incompetent to the point where I don't. It's like the reverse. It's like Bizarro Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where I love these guys are good enough at their jobs. They can have fun on the side. This guy.
Yeah.
It sounds like the movie's trying to make him look like he actually knows what he's doing, but at every turn he's stupid and he fouls up, which is giving any credibility he may have had goes out the window again because he's the white guy, apparently. And it's not good. And Taraji P. Henson, the only two good elements of this movie, Taraji P. Henson, when she's in the movie, good, but we taser her in the movie, so we get her out of the equation. It's like, why? Why did we
taser her?
We taser. Basically, and again, it's a bad joke too. Basically, she's doing the upset black.
Don't tase me, bro.
I kid you not, and they make a joke. They spell out in the movie, if you can't, she's an upset black mother, so we have to taser her, and it's like.
Do they literally make a "don't tase me, bro" joke?
No, there's no. Well, they may have, but I don't think it was in that scene. I think they may have, but it wasn't in that scene. That's why I can't recall.
Okay.
The point is, in that scene is the whole thing of like it's like, you can't reason with an angry black woman, so we taser her. It's like, what? Like,
oh man! Oh Jesus Christ! This movie sounds like.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not making
Yeah.
this up. So we
This
taser her.
movie
And we,
sounds like it sounds like something batshit like that one Colin Trevorrow movie, whatever the hell that one was called. You know what I'm talking
I, I,
about.
I don't know because I'm only familiar with the Jurassic Park movie he didn't direct.
Anyways,
All right,
it's the one
so
he directed right after Jurassic World. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, so again, my point is, it's not good. The only good redeeming element again is when she's in the movie, and secondly, the gang. Like basically, the gang that's pursuing him is really funny. The gang's really funny. Like the ones like they're kind of going after him because they're really mundane. They're like taking food from the house when they break into the house. Like, hey, what are you doing? I need lunch. Like, okay, fine. It's like there's gangs like that
Okay,
that are
that's kind of funny.
so there are like the gang, like the leader of the gang has like an arc. That's what I'm saying. That the gang is the I want to see those guys' movies. I want to see the movie of those guys
Right.
are in. But everything else is just it's bad. And Betty Gilpin's in the movie. Betty Gilpin was in Stuber. And I'm slowly having this realization that
Oh
Betty Gilpin.
no.
I'm sure she was in Nurse Jackie. That's what I know her from. She was in Nurse Jackie, and she was in a show with Michael Sheen. It was like as a guest spot. She wasn't in from the beginning. It's just, she's okay, but she keeps playing these unlikable characters. She's being typecast as unlikable characters. I'm starting to get the effect of, man, she's really terrible in this movie. And she starts off as an unlikable character, then gets really stupid as the movie goes on. It's like, man, I feel so bad. I think I might secretly hate Betty Gilpin. I feel bad about that.
Oh god. This movie sounds like it broke you, bro.
It's just not good, and it's just Tiki. I swear, I really wish I could take this movie back so much. I really wish I could. It
Oh
was a mistake.
Jesus.
It was a very painful mistake. And had I known the Stuber guy directed this, I would not have watched it. Had I known, and I could sniff it out. Like this feels so stupid, like that Stuber movie. So disappointing looking. And it's just awful. Let's just move on. Just coffee and cream. Watch it if you want a really bad movie. Watch it. Otherwise, don't. For your own sanity, don't.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix.
I might have to check it out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Netflix is the siren, man. It's calling you in.
All right. So you saw a movie that I really wanted to see, Bad Education.
Yes, I did. There's one before that.
Oh, there is? Okay. Well, let's just. You took a long time on.
I know, but sure. This
on
one's
that
going to go by
last
like
one,
that. This one, the other one's really ill
Okay.
defined, so it's okay. Murder to Mercy, the Centoya Brown story. Again, another true crime piece. It's not a series. It's a full length kind of film. Well, you like hour and change. Basically, it's about a child prostitute who killed her John, but was charged not as a victim. She was charged as the killer, but not as a victim, as like someone who's trafficked. So that's
The funny thing is, I heard about this case, but I didn't hear about it as a movie. I heard about it as a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Well, you're right. It's the same case, all right. Yeah. It's basically all I can say about it. There's not really much I can say. It's a little too straightforward. Maybe it's not groundbreaking. Again, we've been spoiled with the true crime stuff, so I'm always feel weird about evaluating these when they're not really jumping out to me. Because this one, it's okay. You heard the podcast, I'm sure. I mean, it's it's an interesting story, but my thing is that it feels a little condensed. It just feels like everything's there, but still it feels condensed. I mean, there's a BS reason that we jailed her, which again is the fact that we're not treating her like a victim because she stole the guy's wallet when she left. She's then treated as okay, this is premeditated. We're ignoring the fact that this guy did something really bad, being a 40-year-old man with an underage girl. We're ignoring that factor for some reason. And it's just it just kind of runs out of gas for me. I have trouble talking because it really didn't stick with me. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay, here's the best thing out of the whole month, man. Oh my goodness.
All right, Good Education. I really want to see it, Dragon. Unfortunately, I'm not subscribed to HBO. I haven't found a good secondhand source for it. Maybe once HBO Go launches, depending on what they're offering when they launch, I'll have to check into that.
I can
Maybe
guarantee they announced it will be on HBO Max.
I figured it would be, yeah. So maybe that'll be another reason to get HBO Max once the time comes to decide whether or not I want it.
Sure. Right. It's Bad Education. It's an HBO film based on a true story, based on something that happened, I want to say, in Long Island, kind of a Long Island school. It's very enthralling, Teak. It's very enthralling. And Hugh Jackman, Allison Janney, Ray Romano, they play the staff of the school, of this Long Island school. They're really good. They're really great in it. Hugh Jackman especially. Hugh Jackman's a huge standout. He's kind of he plays the.
When is Hugh Jackman not the standout in whatever he's in?
Fair point. Unless we're talking X-Men cameos, you're right. He's always kind of the
Oh God, yeah, that's a different story.
debatable for the prestige, but he is pretty much, it's him and Christian Bale, so it's kind of a dual
Uh-huh.
thing. Anyway, point being though, so the premise of the movie is that the staff are stealing money from the school, and kind of in gobsmacking amounts. Like for years, they've been stealing money from the Long Island school, which basically Hugh Jackman plays Frank Tasson, plays this superintendent who basically he's the charming face of the school. Everyone loves this guy. He's the face
Uh-huh.
man. It's like charming as the day is long. He's gotten the
How
school
much
to like.
money are we talking?
Well, you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, when they do the full accounting by the end, we get like text on the screen. They reveal $11 million.
Oh, okay. You see, my school had a scandal that was kind of similar to this, but the teacher, it was the teacher who was supposed to be in charge of the funds for our school's wildlife museum. She basically pocketed about 20,000 of it for her daughter's dance recitals.
The lowest amount that they start with in this movie in terms of the theft is like a 200,000. So that just goes to show you that's where things start.
Okay, yeah, there and even that, like in my community, caused a big uproar. So
you can imagine. All right,
Yeah,
so basically
yeah.
the whole premise is because basically they're trying to get their school to like the number one school in the country. So they're at the number 4 spot right now, and they're trying to get the number 1. So of course, we then the scandal breaks out as they're like on the track of getting to number 1, which Frank Tasson is very impassioned about. Like, I'm gonna get us to number 1, man. That's kind of the goal. We're gonna get us to number 1, which is gonna put us on the map, which is gonna help kids get scholarships, and it's gonna help all. It's the tide that raises all ships, as it were.
Uh-huh.
So it's basically the whole film kind of centers around this really interesting kind of ethical argument of self-interest versus the greater good. And it's basically, okay, so we know our guys are in the wrong here, but by the same token, it's that, again, they're in the wrong, but, they are trying, again, what their end goal in doing all this, while they are pocketing money on the side, a substantial amount of money, is like, they're still like putting this positive thing out in the world. And it's kind of looking at someone like in the culture we live in today, we're always like casting dispersions and everything, and in many cases, well-founded dispersions. But the fact is, we never look at it from the people who are in the sinking ship. We never look at it from their. We're never in their shoes, and that's kind of what we look at in this movie, which is really good. We get some fascinating insights into the life of a teacher and the sacrifices they make. Hugh Jackman, Tiki. Jackman has an electric monologue in this thing. He has this monologue about being a teacher, which is like I think the best scene in the movie. It's towards the end. It's really great. Just kind of this, he has a scene with a parent, and he explains the sacrifices of being a teacher, and it's, oh my god, it's so good what he does. So I just love the undoing of the whole piece. It gets really full circle in places, like an event that happens in the very start, almost like a telltale choice happens in Act 1 that really kind of is kind of threaded throughout the movie. So far, I mean, next to Onward probably is like the best film of 2020 so far for me. Bear in mind, we're just getting started. And we've been delayed with a lot of things, but it's really good.
Yeah. Right, well, that's better than Trolls World Tour being maybe my second best movie of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, time to move on to our catch-up, Dragon. And we've got a lot of it. Dragon, can you please try and make this as bullet pointy as possible?
All right.
We got a lot of movies to get through still, and we're 2 hours in.
All right. Okay, first off, mystery movie. You ready for this?
I think it's going to be either The Lighthouse or Parasite.
You might be wrong about that.
Okay, what's it going to be?
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, okay. There you go. Curveball. All right.
Told you.
Okay, so JoJo, yes, I'm very curious to see what you... Because the thing about JoJo for me is, like, I liked it a lot. I didn't quite get to the love category with it. But what do you think?
I thought this was really great. I think it's great to the point where I think it should have had a really good shot at the Oscar. Given I think it had some really excellent high of high moments that felt really Oscar worthy. I think it should have. I think it really should have had a fair.
The shoes, man, the shoes.
I know, that's what I'm talking about. Moments like the shoes, and when we get to my favorite moment in the whole movie, when we get to that, so that's what I'm saying. That's what should have got at the Oscar. So we have some great parable for Nazism, as in patriotism for the German people just trying to join a club, essentially like a Boy Scout trying to join a club, essentially that is Nazism. But again, it's just being patriotic. But again, it's really, really interesting stuff. Watiti's Hitler, the device of Watiti's Hitler is a lot of fun.
Oh my God, Watiti's Hitler is just great.
Fun. I love how we shoot it. I love the whole what are you doing?
Come on, man, that's not how you hail. Just throw it out there, hail.
Yeah, and of course, I love the evolution as JoJo's arc develops. So does that we kind of strip away the pleasantries of our Watiti Hitler, which is just great.
Uh-huh.
I think it goes without saying the MVP of the film, the two MVPs of the film, Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell. I mean, they steal the movie, man. There are
Oh my
there's a lot
god, Sam Rockwell, dude. I love Sam Rockwell's character, man.
and I'm going to get to Sam Rockwell in a second here, but Scarlett Johansson, I love her to pieces in this movie. I love the mother-father scene when she plays both the mother and the father, with the ash from the fireplace, and it's just like I adore the idea of this loving and supportive mother who has kind of lost her son to this war, not in a physical sense, but kind of lost her son to the propaganda of the war. And she doesn't want to crush his delusions, but she wants to be there for him. She's absolutely the heart of the film. She represents what the whole film's going for. This whole trying to find civility within a really dark subject matter. And again, she's absolutely the connect for JoJo's arc with Elsa, and we fight the dance, that whole thing. It's really sweet. Now here's the thing I got to talk about. We'll move on here. Sam Rockwell, he's my favorite moment in the whole movie. He's my favorite element of the whole movie. It's great. As much as I love Scarlett Johansson, I love how he parallels JoJo's story. I love that they're both kind of the injured. They're both injured. They both are kind of just joining the club because they're patriotic, and of
they're
course,
both kind of having their perspectives shifted throughout the movie.
Exactly, and of course, there's some evidence to suggest that Rockwell, Captain K, he's kind of hiding within the ranks, so he's not found out for. It's believed that he might be gay, which again, there's some evidence to support that. So the point being, he's definitely flamboyant, if nothing else. with his fancy war outfit.
Also, Rebel Wilson is even amusing in this movie.
Yes, and that's a hard task to accomplish in my book. Oh my god, man, she was good in this. Not great, but she was good.
Oh my god, Dragon! You know who I really love in this movie is Georgie.
Yes, you mean the friend,
or Georgie, whatever his name is.
You mean the kid, or do you mean the
kid?
Yeah.
The one who keeps checking in on JoJo, and every time we check in on him, he's in a worse and worse condition in the war.
Yeah. Kind of the Carl Weezer kind of JoJo's Carl Weezer.
Right,
almost.
Totally.
I have a girlfriend, but she's Jewish. Oh, good for you, JoJo.
Oh, good for you, JoJo.
That's what I'm saying. He's so jaunty. I love it. Okay, so I love the father figure dynamic of Sam Rockwell most. His last scene, oh my god, his last scene is so moving. That's the Oscar scene for me. That's the thing that makes me think, okay, this movie probably should have got the Oscar. I mean, I really love this for that scene alone. That's the ending of that arc is something truly beautiful for Sam Rockwell. That's the movie. It really gets me emotional. that scene with Captain K. That's something beautiful. So I love the variety of World War II movies we have now. We have something like this. We have Dunkirk. We have a Saving Private Ryan. So we're crossing the whole gambit of World War II films, man. It's great.
All right. Okie dokie, Dragon. So I saw Pirates, Band of Misfits. This is, of course, an Aardman Studios movie that I've been wanting to see for a long time. I finally got around to it. It was on Hulu, so I gave it a watch. Why not? And I liked it a lot, but Dragon, honestly, I feel like this suffers from the same thing that Early Man suffers from.
Yeah, but not as badly, though.
Not as badly, no. But with Early Man, it's okay, I'm enjoying the concept of this movie until it suddenly just becomes a sports movie. And then with Pirates, it's I'm really enjoying these pirates and their wacky adventures, and then it suddenly becomes about Charles Darwin.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that's a weird thing that Aardman kind of tends to do, is really shift direction in their movies. They didn't used to do that. I mean, if you go back and look at something like Were Rabbit or Chicken Run, they didn't do that at all.
Or Arthur Christmas.
I don't know. Right. So it's a recent trend, man. But the last two Aardman movies or at least this and Early Man are very guilty of it. Just having a good setup, but then kind of putting in something that, well, not bad, just kind of derails the movie into something that's less interesting than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of Pirates, animation is beautiful, as always with Aardman. The stop motion is very, very well realized. I love the pirate ship sets and all that. And I do like that the pirate captain is just named Pirate Captain,
I mean, he
really
really
like
is
his
the heart of the film, man. He's great.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I'm frustrated by when Charles Darwin comes in and starts to eat up the screen time, and Pirate Captain is almost kind of like, almost neglected to a supporting role at that point. And the movie just doesn't know how to distribute screen time sometimes. I don't know. It's a frustrating movie in that regard.
This chimp is really funny, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Monkey with cue cards.
So yeah,
never fails.
overall, Pirates Band of Misfits. I mean, I'm glad I watched it just because of the animation and just seeing Pirate Captain himself is a really fun character. I don't know, man. There's something up with Aardman right now in terms of like their pacing and how they switch gears so dramatically in their storytelling. I really hope they get their act together.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the new Shaun the Sheep movie, but that's the thing. I think they were good with the first Shaun the Sheep movie with that sort of thing, but I don't know, maybe they've lost their way. I got to check in on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, mystery movie number 2, Dragon.
Parasite.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay, so the hype is.
You can't not like Parasite, Dragon. You can't not like it. I mean, come on.
I detested the whole thing. I hated it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you're right. No, seriously, we're getting all serious. This getting back up. Okay, so the hype is real, folks. This is really good. Again, compared to Jojo Rabbit, I don't know if Jojo Rabbit really won me over, so I still would say maybe. I don't know if it should have got the Oscar, but it deserved the directing Oscar. Absolutely, no question.
Well, I think The Lighthouse should have gotten the Oscar, but that's an entirely different conversation.
Again, I still wish I think absolutely the ensemble award that they got was absolutely earned as well, because the ensemble cast is tremendous. Bong Joon-ho, yeah, he's an exceptional director in this movie. He definitely showcases that. Here's the thing for me, Tiki. I wasn't sold on the movie until the infiltration, kind of a con job of it all came in, the aspect.
It's a slow build. It's a slow build for sure.
Once it got there, once I realized, oh, that's what they're doing, I was like, okay, I'm liking this movie now. Okay.
No, that's the thing, that it's a movie where I very much went in with, like, all I heard was, like, a little bit of hype, and I didn't know anything about what the movie was about. I knew something about, like, the class system.
I know,
right?
me too, yeah. But I went into it with as well.
Yeah. And I really respect the way that the movie respects the audience enough to just let the story unfold. We don't have any hand-holding. And just, I mean, Jesus Christ, the movie, I feel like, is made to be just a sign of the times, Like, this is the kind of movie where it's like, if we're going to talk about social commentary in 2019, this is the movie for that. And I just think, I'm so proud of the Oscars for awarding it with Best Picture, as it should be, Okay, I'm sorry. I'm kind of hijacking your own spot here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. So my biggest fear going to movies was going to turn out like Roma, which would have been awful. Which given your support of it, I would imagine it would not be like Roma. So I wasn't fully concerned. Part of me in the beginning was like, oh no, what if this turns into Roma? But then again, once the con came into play, it's like, okay,
oh, it's a heist.
Well, it's more like it's an infiltration. It's a little more of an infiltration than a heist, not taking.
All right. But
I mean, they're infiltrating. The whole infiltration con job.
By the way, Dragon, who do you think are the true parasites?
That's a good question.
That's the question, right? That's the question.
It is a question, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to lean to the guys who are actually feeding off the rich people, which would be our guys.
But the rich people are the parasites of society. The rich people are like the real world parasites.
I mean, when you can say that, Tiki, but do you mean it though? That's what I mean. It's that's what I'm saying. Okay, so I love the Park family. I really love the Park family. I love the rich family.
Oh, I do too, man.
Particularly, my favorite is I love the mother. The mother's so prissy and upper crust. Yes. I love it. She's probably my favorite character in the movie, just because she's so much fun, and I love like she's freaking out like the whole tuberculosis kind of scam. That's what I'm saying. We do like all the slipping Jimmy cons within this family. That's when they're really winning me. Like, okay, this is really clever. I love that this family, despite not having the means, their cleverness and ingenuity is really what kind of put them over the upper class. And I thought that was their greatest asset.
Exactly.
That's the core of the movie for me. That's what sold me on the movie. I also really like the dynamic of like Mr. Kim and Mr. Park. You know, again, the Kim family being the poor guys and the Park family being the rich guys. Anyway, so I love that.
I feel bad for Mr. Park, man. Mr. Park seems like such a genuinely good guy who's like just out to be a good family man, and he happens to have a good job that, you know, pays well.
I know.
He doesn't mean anything.
That's what I'm saying. Again, he doesn't mean he's being offensive, and he's being like, let me put it this way. He's I'm trying to find the words here. It's okay. Well, it's like a microaggression. You know, it's like a microaggression where he's not intentionally. It's like an unintentional microaggression where he's doing these things that are like kind of a little offensive to the underclass, but he doesn't mean it though. He's not intentionally doing it. I think I really like that he built a rapport with Mr. Kim. He kind of viewed Mr. Kim as a friend of his, as the driver, like, you know, as Alfred almost, like the valet driver, as it were. You know, kind of viewed him as it's like, yeah, here's the guy kind of bonded over him. But again, that smell comment, I love in the scene where he reveals that Mr. Kim stinks. That scene, you see how deeply that cuts Mr. Kim, who thinks perhaps there's a little bit of respectability between the two of them, and it's like he thinks I stink, and of course that builds into a huge moment later on.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the tragedy of it.
In that movie, imagine seeing that moment in a crowded movie theater, Dragon.
God. Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, that was a moment.
So my point is, so things definitely take. Speaking of that, so things definitely take a dark turn once we reveal the bunker and the housekeeper. Once the housekeeper returns. Which again, it's so funny to think. If only they said, like, you know, you wait here, I'm going to get you something. You tell me what you're looking for. Let's bring it to the door for you. Obviously, it wouldn't have worked. But, you know, if they just didn't let her in, the movie would have turned out really differently.
I just knew as soon as they were sitting around drinking the park's alcohol, I was like, oh, this is going to go so bad so quick. They are way too comfortable.
Yeah, I did. My biggest thing throughout the movie is I thought, okay, we reveal this bunker. They're all going to be living in the bunker. They have like a new house. Basically, they have like a new home, which is potentially a little bit of a better home, perhaps. I mean, it's nicely constructed. It's within like below the nicely stocked house. I guess would you say it's an upgrade from the basement home or what?
Well, I mean, especially considering the flood that we get, yes.
Yeah, you're right. Poor town. Why was I think there was a doubt? The flood scene was horrific. Yeah. Oh god, and that sewage thing was disgusting, man. It was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
but I love how the sun throughout it all is just like it's so metaphorical.
Love that he grabbed the stone. Of course, the stone was his undoing. That was tragic. The whole thing with the rock. And of course, like the rock means like good fortune or something. It means like money, or it means wealth. Anyway,
something like that.
Point being, very bold tone shift. I did applaud. Again, it made me feel very uncomfortable. It made me wish, like, why did the family have to eavesdrop in that moment? Why did they have to eavesdrop at every moment? If they didn't eavesdrop, they would have been fine.
Oh God.
Anyway, so it's also I like the ambiguous ending.
Oh, I love the ambiguous ending. Absolutely.
Of course, I side on the optimistic of things. I like to think that the happy-go-lucky ending does happen. What do you think? You think he just never gets the letter, or what?
Oh no, I'm on the exact opposite. I think that the son, like, in his heart of hearts, wants the ending to happen, but he knows it never will. That's the way I read the
absolutely ending. That reads, and that makes sense. I'm just saying, I like to think, you know, he did it, man. He ended up like they've been through so much. Maybe they got out. And again, I love that we inflate that balloon, then we kind of slowly let the air out. Okay, doesn't that sound a little too good to be true? Yeah, it's a little too good to be true. Yeah.
It's like Squidward's nose slowly deflating at the end of Squid's day off.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's see. So I saw Too Funny to Fail, The Rise and Fall of the Dana Carvey Show. So we've already talked about the Dana Carvey Show. You've already mentioned this documentary, so we don't need to spend a ton of time on it. One of the things I really found compelling, though, Dragon, was the Colbert character in here. I've never rooted for Stephen Colbert as much as I have in this documentary. Like, Stephen Colbert is such an underdog here, you know, basically how the future of his child rested on him getting this job, Dragon. It's so dramatic.
I know. How did you feel the home improvement gag?
Oh, I mean, like I said, Dragon, every Dana Carvey show sketch in its own way is, you know, unique and surreal, and, you know, so it's all a lot of fun. And just seeing what?
I'm sorry. What I meant is like when we reveal like the commercial, like we reveal like we had ads for the Dana Carvey show following Home Improvement. They've been following Home Improvement the whole time.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. That's
And
fun.
they're all like
Yeah.
cracking up realizing this as they play like the promo for like the one dramatic episode of Home Improvement. Literally like the one dramatic episode of Home Improvement where like Randy thinks he's gonna die. And that's
Oh god.
followed by the Dana Carvey show, and not just the Dana Carvey show, the root beer Dana Carvey show.
The mug root beer Dana Carvey show.
That's what I'm saying. I love the style of this thing, man. It's just I love sitting down with
Yeah.
these guys and checking in with them. Rob Smigel and all that. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and just just kind of getting the man, it really is a shame what happened with this show because it could have Dragon, I'm still convinced that if they didn't lead with that stupid Bill Clinton sketch, this show really could have it's fascinating how it's like a telltale decision, it's like that one wrong move really cost them everything. It really cost them their whole reputation right out the gate.
And isn't it fascinating? They won the critic to their side with the counterculture thing. They wrote him like a scathing letter. You're a stupid critic, and like all these things. They actually gave a second shot. You know what? Maybe it was too harsh on it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's I love Anatomy of a Failure documentaries, and this was a great one.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Dragon. So oh god. Now we're going to get to the really mediocre animated movies of this month's program.
Okay, so I saw Abominable.
Please don't tell me you're like, oh, Tiki, I loved it.
I could put you on, but I'm just going to spare you that because we don't have the time. It's okay. It's all it is. It's a little bare bones story-wise.
Terrible, but like it's nothing special.
I'll leave it this way. I saw some potential in it, but it's really just at the end of the day, it's bare bones story that doesn't support anything greater than just okay. It's.
I think the rules of the Yeti's powers are kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah, I like the yellow flower wave. That was really cool. That whole thing. It looks great. Let's make that. It looks really good.
Yeah, it doesn't look nearly as good as something like Trolls 2, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well, one, obviously I haven't seen Trolls 2, but secondly, sure, probably not, yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is like the most under-the-radar DreamWorks film they've released in a long, long time, man. This is like that. It's like, you didn't know about it.
I feel like the reason why we think this is underrated is because I feel like this movie was directly made for a Chinese market, Dragon.
I know, it's so weird. Like it felt like it was going to be like a direct-to-video release, but it didn't come across there. Like, I mean, I kind of like the Eddie Izzard character. We're doing kind of like a weird Charles Muntz sort of thing with him. But here's the thing: then they kind of lose me with this whole red-headed evil scientist lady, the evil zoologist lady. Like, it's like they're losing me on stuff like that. And again, we're just taking any story things we build, we're kind of losing with stuff like that. And it's like the most under-the-radar DreamWorks film I've ever seen, where it's just like, this thing it leaves almost no impact. It's not a Shark Tale by any stretch, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But it ain't an El Dorado. El Dorado being kind of like the hidden gems, like people gloss over, but it's so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it is what it is. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so speaking of animated movies that leave no impression, Spies in Disguise!
Don't burn me, Walter. Don't burn me right now.
Unburn me right now, Walter!
Yeah, you've been on a kick with the angry Will Smith pigeon, haven't you?
Oh, a little bit. I kind of turned it into a meme in the So You Want to Be an Imagineer community.
I noticed that.
So Spies in Disguise is pretty fucking awful, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
it's really that bad, eh?
I don't want to say it's Norma the North bad, but it's like up there, Dragon. It's pretty bad. And you know what? It's just aggressively mediocre. And you know how I feel about aggressively mediocre. I mean, it's just like, like the main character, it's like, oh, they gave him like a vague backstory of his mother being a police officer who was shot on the line of duty. But we never see a flashback of it. We never see him like reflect on his mother at all very seriously. It's just like, it's such a shoehorned in, like, this is why you should care about this character. And then, man, just Will Smith Pigeon himself is just really blandly designed. I mean, I still can't decide if the Tom Holland character is supposed to be fucking Linguini or the Tom Holland character from Onward or the freaking boyfriend character from the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Okay, that
I mean,
last
he
one's
just
a little too far there. Okay, come on, that's not
okay, but
Johnny.
you've got to admit, the Tom Holland character in Spies in Disguise is like the most bland, generic character design ever, man.
Well, to be fair, he's modeled after. It looks like he's modeled after Tom Holland, so I don't know if that's more of an insult on Tom Holland.
There's some really cringy moments in this movie where Tom Holland, like, you know, he'll like do a mic drop or something like that, and oh god, man, the movie itself is just so damn forgettable. Mazi Oka shows up in it for some reason as like you know a Japanese gangster guy. And then, like, I honestly forget who the villain was.
It was some big scary guy, wasn't it?
Sure, some big scary guy. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Sure. There's also a side character who's another pigeon who really just wants to fuck Will Smith pigeon throughout the whole movie, and that's her gag.
Thanks for the zoology there, Tiki. But yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, just Spies in Disguise, just no bueno. There's a reason why this thing was forgotten about. It's so forgettable.
And again,
but you know what's not? Go ahead, sorry.
I remember the marketing for that. Again, I'm sold like, okay, Will Smith as a spy. I'm kind of there. Gadgets galore. Tom Holland, okay, and then turns into a pigeon. Like, really? You lost me.
You better burn me right now, Walter.
Yeah, I'll admit that. My favorite moment with that though is like, even though I love the reaction. Will Smith just yells me go around the room like, ah! That's a cool moment. I got to give him that. Then the whole unbird me comes into place. Okay, now we've lost all credibility.
All right. But you know what is a memorable movie, Dragon, is your next movie, being John Malkovich.
Yes, I have. I've always always wanted to get to this movie, and the circumstance it kind of dropped in my lap. I had like a free trial of stuff, and it was on a John Cusack because I do really like John Cusack, and meaning to get to the movie are a lot of good things. I also like John Malkovich. So everything just kind of fell into place. So, of course, a lot of fun crossover with our Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman love with this as well. Because think about it. So Charlie Kaufman, he writes. This is like his first big break, his first big thing he writes. He worked with Spike Jonze, both of which fed into Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Spike Jonze, who did the Jim and Andy documentary. He didn't direct it, but he produced it. He kind of made it happen. So. It's all relative, kids, and Catherine Keener's in it. So of course, it's like three connections to the Jim Carrey there, folks.
So being John Malkovich, Dragon, whenever I think about this movie, I just think of a drug trip, man. It really is just like, to me, it's one of the closest things to feeling like you're legitimately on drugs without having to actually take drugs. I mean, it is so weird. I like it. I wouldn't say I love it. I think it's a little bit pretentious, but what do you think of it?
Well, it's definitely Kaufman's first heady work, which it's kind of like the prototype for something like Eternal Sunshine.
Have you seen Adaptation, Dragon?
I haven't seen Adaptation, no.
Oh, that's a good one. That's my favorite Kaufman work, actually. Yeah, do you know about that? Like the premise, the cell?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage is playing twin brothers.
Okay.
One of them is like a really like extroverted, like, confident guy. And the other one is supposed to be like Charlie Kaufman, essentially. He's a screenwriter and he's struggling to write an adaptation of a book. And so the whole thing is kind of like about writer's block.
I see.
Yeah, I would recommend it if you can find it.
Okay.
Really good dual Nicolas Cage performance in that one.
Okay. Also, fun fact: Kaufman, he worked on the Dana Carvey show.
Oh yeah.
Well, fun fact. Oh, anyway, so I mean, this movie, it's I gotta tell you, it's an out there premise, man. It's really out there. It's a little scarier than I thought it was gonna be. I gotta be honest. It was. All I had seen of John. I saw a scene of it once. I saw a scene basically of John Cusack's character, the Craig character, Craig Schwartz, and Catherine Keener's characters, having a conversation together. I think he was demonstrating the puppets. He was the point is, I think he was with his puppets, and then we cut to a scene with Catherine Keener. As much as I got in the movie, just for the one glimpse I got, like way back when, it's like I looked like, oh, this movie might be really interesting. So of course, I finally get back to it. I didn't know like the whole eerie relationship he has with Catherine Keener from the start of things. That's a really
Oh
kind of
yeah, yeah.
it's like he's married, he's just basically there's like Catherine Keener's character is like screwed in some kind of pheromone because everyone wants Catherine Keener in this movie. Everyone. And it's kind of strange. I mean, it's interesting, kind of strange. Don't get me wrong. It's I think it's good
I mean,
stuff. I mean,
all of Charlie Kaufman's movies have this kind of weird, like existential dread kind of vibe to them that you can't quite put your finger on.
yeah, I think the tone's kind of strange, but it's kind of like strange you can't look away from. It's
Oh yeah,
I
oh yeah.
love the seventh and a half floor. I love that idea. I love that. That's what comes winning me over in the movie. All right, okay, seventh and a half floor, and it's like a lowered. It's like, and again, from Scott, thanks to Scott Snyder, I know about this sort of thing. Some buildings build secret floors into them, so that's how I knew about this thing that actually does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not this visually well represented, but something like this does exist, like these little hidden floors within buildings. So you have like that. You have like the bizarre job interview sequence is really weird, and of course, of all people, why John Malkovich as a human puppet that you can build? I love we turn that into a business. That's where they're really. I love the evolving methodology. I love the fact we discover this whole it turns you into John Malkovich, and you're selling it to people, and people are buying it plenty that become John Malkovich.
Yeah.
It's very odd. I love the turn things take in the third act. I love where the idea of like of of uh, of, of John Cusack becoming John Malkovich completely and entirely, becoming him and turning him into a puppeteer. Like, I'm not going to act anymore. I'm going to become a puppeteer. And it ultimately leads to that really crazy chase into John Malkovich's past, which is gobsmackingly awesome. Like, oh god, we're doing this insane chase through all of John Malkovich's memories, and it gets Freudian, it gets weird, it's awesome, and we have this really haunting comeuppance for the Craig Schwartz character, which is just really questionable, and just like, oh my goodness, like he's stuck in the little girl's body. It's just it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff. It was definitely interesting.
Okay. All right, so Dragon, I kind of got myself onto a found footage kick this month. The first of 3 found footage movies that I watched this month is The House is October Built. And this is a very simple premise, Dragon. Essentially what it is it's a found footage movie that uses real life, like, haunted houses, like quote unquote haunted houses, like essentially Halloween haunt type attractions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's the House is October Built of it all. Like, it stars a group of friends. They're going around a road trip. They're filming their trip, found footage style. That's how you get the found footage. And the idea is that they're wanting to push it, like they're basically going into the rural backwoods of America, and they're going on a road trip to try and find the most terrifying haunts in the country. And Dragon, throughout the whole thing, I like how this thing has an escalation, right? Where the first couple haunts you'll go to, it'll be like, oh, that's really cool. It's really well themed, but it's not exactly scary. And then a couple of the other haunts, and it's like, okay, that's some fucked up imagery there, man. Like, and the people that are working at that haunt, I don't know. But the really fascinating thing, Dragon, is that they do throughout the movie film at real haunt locations and kind of weave the narrative through the real haunt locations that they go to. And there is a climax that they hit where it's obvious that, okay, this isn't a haunt. They're obviously filming this. But throughout most of the movie, a lot of it is filmed with in this sort of guerrilla filmmaking style of going into these haunted houses and getting this footage, and the characters almost intentionally getting themselves lost in these houses. And because of that, I just really dig the style, man. It's a really interesting way to go about making a found footage movie. There's also a couple really good scares in there. There's one girl in particular, I just call her the doll girl, where it's a scene where about midway through the movie, as things are kind of starting to ratchet up on the weird scale, this doll girl with, it's essentially this girl with a doll's face, a plaster face, kind of shows up outside their RV. They let her in. They're kind of figuring out what to do with her. She won't talk. She's mute. And then all of a sudden she just starts screaming this horrific little girl scream. And that was chilling. That was chilling. I'm not a big fan of the ending of the movie. I think the ending of the movie maybe goes a little bit too far in the realism department in terms of like it's not that realistic. But other than that, I had a good time with this one. I think the characters were all pretty well fleshed out. They're not exactly likable, but they're realistically, they feel like a group of friends because they are a group of friends in real life. This is kind of a Blair Witch style cast where it's mostly just non-actors playing versions of themselves. So I dug it, man. I really did. I don't think you'd like it, but you know, for what it's worth, I had a good time with it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So oddly, as you got into kind of a franchise, so did I with 2 movies.
I like this. I like the synergy we have going on here with these next few picks.
Okay, so I went back to something I kind of seen in my youth interspersely. I never really watched it from start to finish, so I'm not sure if it fully counts, but let's just do it anyway. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990.
Yeah.
So yeah, this I've always been looking for an excuse.
Raphael says, "Damn, Dragon."
What? Yes. That he does, my friend. That he does. And he wears fedoras. It looks darn good in them. Anyway, so let's see. So of course, the hype is real, folks. I've always been looking for an excuse to get into the Ninja Turtles. I really respect them as a brand, as a concept, as a story idea, and I see them pop up now. Again, I watched a few episodes of the Nickelodeon like CG version, which I think is really good. The glimpses I have seen of it.
That built us too.
Of course, that as well, and of course the main thing, Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated movie, and I read the comic that inspired that as well. The point being, I'm familiar with the basics of the Ninja Turtles. I'm not fully into it. It's kind of like one of those things where part of me wishes I get into it, but there's just so many iterations. I don't know if it might be too late for me. It might don't weep for me, kids, but it might be too late. But but however, the thing's always dawned on me when I keep thinking Ninja Turtles throughout my life. When I used to walk through the halls of the old AMC. Used to be these posters on the wall, man. The poster, I hope is still there. May or may not still be there. I don't know. I think they kept the posters up throughout all the years. I always passed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle poster from the nice one where they're coming up through a little subway, little manhole cover. Looking up, and it's a beautiful looking poster. And of course, you've always had the temptation of the Jim Henson Company worked on this. And again, I saw a little bit of it over the years. It's in like VHS tape and stuff. Just like watch this. Other people would have the tape playing when I went to a place. It's like, oh, a little bit of this. This looks really good. So I've always had the temptation to go into the live action movies. So I watched the first one, and again, it's. The Henson's work on it is the Henson Company's work on it is brilliant. I think it's a proper introduction to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I really do. It really gets to the heart. It
blows my mind that the movie's technically an independent movie.
I know, because everyone was so scared about the release of it. I mean, you saw obviously you know this. You saw the little thing, because everyone was like, that'll never play. And again, it's a really ambitious project, and that's the thing you got to respect about it. Like, no CG. I mean, like we would do today, well, like we have done today. It's super fun. It's like think about how ambitious. We're going to take that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, which at this point is really in its infancy. It's barely even like a sold thing. It's really the comic and the series that is kind of slowly in its beginnings, and mainly a toy line. That's what you're selling us on. We're going to we're going to bring Turtles into live action, which just sounds crazy. Ninja Turtles. Basically, it's like selling the whole product all over again, but for film. And amazingly, they pulled it off. And it has the heart of the family dynamic in it. The only silly, obviously, there's some silly things in it. It's kind of coming out of the 80s, but again, they're trying to keep the first movie grounded, so it is pretty serious in places. Like the whole Shredder kind of corrupting the youth of America. It's a buy, but it parallels the whole family story of what Shredder does with his kids and what Master Splinter does with his kids. Good parallel there. The only thing I feel is a little out of place, Casey Jones, he's fine. I had nothing against Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. I'm going to defend Casey Jones. I've always been a big Casey Jones fan.
And let me be clear, the character's good, the character's fine. I'm just saying, like, one of the first time, like a top, because every time I check on the Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones is rarely in it. So when I get like a full blown like Casey Jones, man, like the original Casey Jones. Like
that's kind of what I like about Casey Jones, though, is that he's an elusive character. He doesn't pop up all that much. It's like the Boba Fett of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sure, it's just like the fact the guy with the sports gimmick. That's the thing. It's fine. It just seems like a little okay. That's where we're squeezing a little bit of the silliness here. It has like that forced fight with Raphael.
Not the guy with the sports gimmick. It's the whole idea with Casey Jones is that he's supposed to be a more extremist version of the Turtles. Like he'll cross the lines that the Turtles won't. At least that's what the best versions of Casey Jones do.
I see your point. What I'm saying is the encounter in that first movie is a little silly the way it goes down. That's all I'm saying.
It
like
is.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's the only thing it kind of takes. Like again, it's like a little makes him look a little silly. But again, the Casey Jones character still maintains that he comes back. And when he comes back later in the movie, he's a lot cooler. You know, he's helping him out when the place catches on fire. That's where Casey Jones earns some major points. They were like the forced fight. Like we're the heroes and you're the heroes. We're gonna fight each other. It's that sort of thing. You know, it's like come on. Like you dump the trash can on when he didn't want to fight you. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so the point being, my favorite thing, Donatello and Mikey's conversation, was beautiful looking moment in the whole movie where it's like the puppetry looks, the animatronics look fantastic. They're having this really heart-to-heart conversation. So this conversation between two brothers about their father potentially not being there forever. It's a really human moment. Great moment. Of course, licking their wounds on the farm, a little prelude to Age of Ultron, if you will. Got some great stunt work. It's very solid, very simple story. I loved it.
Okay. All right, so I saw The Houses October Built 2. And Dragon, this is a pretty clever sequel in terms of, first of all, I mean, thank God it's a found footage sequel that actually sticks to the found footage format and keeps the same cast. I mean, thank God for that, because even something like Paranormal Activity had to go and switch up its entire cast for the sequel, even if it was still found footage. So I just appreciate that, man. I appreciate the continuity. Anyways, what I dig about this new one is I dig the setup, Dragon. The setup for this one is really good. So essentially after the first movie, the characters in the original, they've all suffered this really traumatic experience at the hands of a really extreme haunted house. I'm not going to go into spoilers about what exactly goes down at the end of the first movie. But essentially, they have become internet famous off of it, Dragon. And they are known to the world at large as the people who have survived the most intense haunted house in the history of intense haunted houses and lived to tell about it. And so because of that, they're getting deals. They're getting sponsorships. People are paying them to go to these places. And Dragon, that right there, I'm like, yes, thank you. Because that is and they're all reluctant to go to the places, but they all need the money, Dragon. Like, these idiots won't just go back to these haunted houses for no reason. And of course, unlike the first film, the whole idea is that they're trying to stay away from the extreme haunts. They're trying to maybe, just highlight some mom and pop haunted houses that might need some extra business and stuff like that. Love the premise. Some of the haunts that they showcase are really interesting too. There's a haunted hayride that looks really intense. There was even a zombie food eating competition with the actual, Japanese food eating champion, Kobe something. He was there in a cameo. Yeah, he was actually there in a cameo. And then there was a cool zombie relay race. Here's the thing, Dragon. I feel like the things that they showcase in this movie, not only do they feel way more like promos for actual haunted houses, which in the continuity of the movie, that's what they are, but still doesn't really feel like the places that they go to, they're not scary. They're cool. They're fun. They're good promos for these places. I'd like to do it. But it's not scary, Dragon. This movie doesn't have the edge of the first film at all. And I feel like a big problem with that is that, the first film, they were able to just go in there completely incognito, filming these haunted houses. Nobody knew who they are. Big change around this time because, like I said, they pretty much wrote their celebrity into the movie itself. So, if people are talking and saying like, hey, I recognize you guys as they're at the haunted environments, they can work the recognition into the story of like, oh, you're Coffin Girl, But having said that, Dragon, holy shit, the ending of the Houses October Built 2 is a mess. I mean, the ending of the first film isn't great. The ending of the second film is a mess. Just the whole last 15, 20 minutes, I just kind of almost phased out. It was so silly. So it's unfortunate. I like the premise of Houses October Built 2. I like some of the characters even a little bit more than the first movie because they've got a little bit more of a reason to be cautious about these houses, and they're not just dumb idiots kind of blindly going through the houses like they were in the first movie. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more tension between the group as they're going through these houses. But still, it really lacks the bite of the first movie. I'd still say if you enjoyed the first movie, it's worth watching, but just don't expect it to be nearly as scary as the first film. So, if anything, Dragon, I would say check out Houses October Built 2, just because that's the one that's going to give you a lot of like the cool real world tourist attraction type Halloween stuff. It's basically a travelogue. So, all right.
Okay. Okay, for me, again, my sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. You probably basically the main reason I checked these out also is that they're leaving Netflix. I wanted to get both of them in before they both left Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, the ticking clock factor in that as
Well,
well.
of course, Vanilla Ice is the main thing I know of this movie.
Again, with the Ninja Turtle movies, I've seen the reviews, and that's kind of like in some of these. I know what happens in the Ninja Turtle movies, in the original 3 at least. And
is this the one with Super Shredder?
Yes, it's Super Shredder.
The really disappointing Super Shredder at the end who shows up for like 30 seconds before Doc falls on him.
Yeah. Okay, so Secret of the Ooze. This is a little bit more in line with the cartoon. So again, the idea is the cartoon's a little bit more popular, and again, the movie went over really well. And some parents weren't happy about it. Why did you take it so seriously? Why don't you make it silly like the cartoon? They met in the middle. Where some people really wish it was kept in line more with the movie, which they're probably right. The first movie was better in comparison, but some people are harsh on the second one. Some people say it's okay. I'm on the okay side of things. It's okay. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the series, and maybe I'd be more offended. I don't know, but it's basically the suits continue to impress. The first 2 movies, the only 2 with the Jim Henson Company, and the second one, of course, Jim Henson passes away right after 1990. So, like, the second one's dedicated to him right at the start, which is nice. Also, Kevin Clash, he plays Splinter, by the way, in both, because remember, Splinter's like a full puppet. He's not an animatronic, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see. So, basically, 2 is kind of Donatello's movie. I always liked Donatello, because Donatello's kind of the tech guy of the group, and the second movie really gets to show that. He's the scientist of the bunch. And, you get the shine, especially with, basically, as you imagine, the Secret of the Ooze, they learn a little bit about what created them, and that, the secret ooze, the kind of the mutagen that mutated the turtles in the sewer, we kind of get an origin for it. It fell off a truck Daredevil style and mutated them. And David Warner's in it. So, of course, we talked about David Warner recently.
Sure.
He is, of course, David Warner of Tron fame, of course, Ra's al Ghul in the animated series for Batman, and the Lobe from Freakazoids. Of course, I love me some David Warner. You get to see him in action. He's a really nice role, too. He's the professor. He's basically kind of the go-to scientist. The Shredder kind of forces kind of mutate some people once he steals the mutagen. The Ninja Turtles save him, and he kind of gives a little history lesson as to what happened to the Ninja Turtles, and that there's like an uncanny thing, mutagen. Nice stuff, really good performance, really fun performance, because he really bonds with the Turtles. It's a feel-good thing with David Warner in this movie, man. He's delightful to see him in action. So let's see. It's basically not a whole lot to the movie, really. It's basically it's fun. You have like this delivery kid who kind of like bonds. He's also like a street fighter who's like delivering pizzas, and that's how logically he would bond with the Ninja Turtles. He's delivering pizza, and the Turtles save him. They steal his pizza. It's adorable. That sort of stuff. It's not the deepest movie. It's got some fun action, like the mall sequence in the start. It has some like a little bit more cartoony in the effects, which is fine. It's fun. You have basically Shredder mutates his own Ninja Turtles in Tokar and Razor, which everyone says should have been Bebop and Rocksteady, which they're probably right, let's be honest. But the funniest Shredder line I've ever heard, Tiki, it's not the whole Super Shredder thing, as that is in this movie, and that is ridiculous. But I don't know if you're aware of this. It's a meme or something. The idea is he's mutated his guys, and he wants them just like the Ninja Turtles, but he wants the speed. He couldn't speed up the process, so they're just freshly mutated, but they have the minds of babies. And Shredder just has this really hilarious line where he just, as he realizes, as he's yelling at David Warner, "You gave me babies! They're babies!" It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so of course, the Go Ninja of it all, it airs a little bit on the silly side, and with Super Shredder, and like we're trying to feed donuts to the bad guys. It's a little weird, but it's fun. It's kind of harmless fun.
Okay. All right, so Dragon, continuing on my found footage kick, I finally watched End of Watch, the David Ayer film with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena.
How is this?
And Dragon, I gotta tell you, David Ayer is a fascinating and frustrating director, all right?
I know, right?
Because I feel like his movies always have really good premises, they're always really well cast, and I feel like it comes down to the editing and the cinematography in this one that really... Dragon, this thing is edited like a music video, and I was so disappointed in that. Because I think this thing does have potential. Like, I really love the idea of the cops doing the body cam stuff. And, first of all, I'm just going to cite one thing right off the bat. There's no good reasons for the cops to have the body cam. They don't work it in logically into the movie at all. It's just at the beginning of the movie, Jake Gyllenhaal is like, to Michael Pena, like, hey, Michael Pena, check it out. I can film stuff now. And Michael Pena is like, oh, dude, no way. That's sick.
Tiki, the cops have body cams, though. It's a fact.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying they really point it out in an obvious way.
Oh, okay,
I know they have body.
Right.
I know they have body cams. I'm just saying it's like, hey, this is why we can film what we see.
They basically call it out, like, hey, look at this. Okay.
Right. And just overall, Dragon, it's frustrating, man. Like, the editing is just all over the place. The cinematography is like the worst kind of shaky cam. I like the characters. I think Michael Pena is kind of like, he's got a tragic past that he's dealing with, and he's trying to right his wrongs by being a police officer. Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of like one of those like aggressive style police officers who's kind of got a heart underneath his rough exterior, but not really. He's also got a lot of demons he's chasing. Good characters, good performances. It's just the cinematography and the editing that just lost me, Dragon. And I am so frustrated by that because I swear to God, I felt like I was watching Suicide Squad with the editing. It's really, Suicide Squad wasn't a fluke, folks. I don't know what to tell you. It jumps around so much. It jumps around from scene to scene, from location to location. We don't stay at one location or one scene for very long. It's one of those movies where there's a lot of different like scenarios and things happening at the same time. So you kind of have to like have a sketch pad to keep up with everything. And the movie doesn't do a good job of tying things together. Dragon, I was really looking forward to this movie, and I've heard good things about it, but I got to tell you, it didn't land with me. There's good things about it, especially in the performances, but it really just didn't land.
I remember being really impressed with the trailer of this, and I wanted to see it, but I couldn't, and everything just kept getting in the way, and just kind of fell past it. But you're saying like did not live up to the hype then.
I mean, I think you might like it more than I did, honestly, if you can get over the style. Because, like I said, I feel like it would have lived up to the hype had it not been for the style.
Sure.
Okay.
This one's a simple one. America's Sweethearts.
Dragon, what compelled you to watch this, man? I remember watching it with my grandma back when it first came out.
Well, as I mentioned, here's the other with John Malkovich, I was on a John Cusack kick because I really do like John Cusack.
Oh, okay, John Cusack, got it.
That's the thing. Basically, I was like, I forget which one. Like, I think I came to America's Sweethearts first. I said into the remote, like, "Hey, John Cusack." Hey, like. Here's the thing. I love likable John Cusack, particularly, which obviously being John Malkovich, not exactly likable John Cusack, but this was in my wheelhouse for at least in theory. It's like, hey, likable John Cusack, I'm in, man. Fun fact: this is directed by Joe Roth. Now, Joe Roth, I don't know if you remember, he was the guy who ran Disney when Toy Story 2 was being made. He went on to direct stuff like Christmas and the Cranks. He worked on Jingle All the Way. So this guy does not have the best track record. So basically, this was not what I expected at all, given like the setup for this thing, man. Basically, it starts up Billy Crystal. It's mainly a Billy Crystal movie, at least the way it's initially you sold to you, where you think, okay, the first names pop up, it's Billy Crystal and John Cusack and so on, and it basically seems like it's going to be Billy Crystal's movie. In reality, not really his movie at all. It's just kind of a bizarre movie, and then we have Billy Crystal, and it's basically he's an agent, and the whole movie is basically agents dealing with their fussy Hollywood clients, and basically trying to get a premiere in order. And basically, it's dealing with the nightmare Bennifer situation. You remember Bennifer, don't you?
Oh, of course, of course.
So essentially, the whole movie is a Bennifer situation where John Cusack is kind of the Ben Affleck figure, and you have Catherine Zeta-Jones as the Jennifer in this situation. Where again, it's not that they're together, but again, it's like these they had a breakup, but they need to be together for like to sell the couples movie because they're a famous kind of couples sort of thing that they're paired together in their series of movies. So the agents have to get them together for the premiere and the press junkets and so on and so forth, so people see the movie. And unfortunately, they can't sell a movie on the movie because Christopher Walken plays the very eccentric director.
Oh dear, I forgot Christopher Walken was in it.
Tiki, listen to me. Christopher Walken's so good, they use so sparingly in this movie. Okay. They basically tee him up at the start and they bring him in at the end, and it's perfect the way they bring him in at the end. Okay, just give me a second. I'm gonna get to him real quick.
Okay.
So point being, so you think it's gonna be like Billy Crystal? Initially, it looks like Billy Crystal might be romancing Julia Roberts, who essentially is kind of like our likable female kind of lead in the thing, really. And no, she just happens to be in the scene because she's the assistant to her sister, that is Catherine Zeta-Jones. Catherine Zeta-Jones being the star. It's like, oh, I'm going to hire my sister as my assistant. So basically, we reveal basically the whole premise of the movie is that John Cusack, he's trying to get back together with Catherine Zeta-Jones, but under his nose, he realizes he's like Julia Roberts the whole time. And I got to tell you, man, likable John Cusack charming the heck out of Julia Roberts is okay in my book. I think that's nice. I really do, man. It's really nice to see these two cute kids kind of fall in love. I don't know. There's something nice about it. Anyway, so the point being, you have that, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's playing like a Hollywood diva monster. She's like the worst. So
I remember her character the most, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. She's like every nightmare situation like an agent could deal with, where she's really prissy and she just wants everything done. She's like all about her ego. She was the reason the relationship, she cheated on him, and that's why the relationship crumbled. And Hank Azaria's in it too. Hank Azaria plays the guy.
I also remember Hank Azaria from it. I do specifically.
The movie's got gobs of good people, Tiki. So many good people. One of them being my favorite, Stanley Tucci as a studio head, and of course I love. Last time I saw Stanley Tucci as a studio head was Feud, Betty and Joan. I love him, and he plays Jack Warner in that, man. Oh my god, I love Tucci. And he's funny in this too. He's playing really good. Here's the studio head who again is dealing with this nightmare situation of a movie where they don't have any footage. The studio can't see any footage because Christopher Walken has the footage the whole time. He's editing the movie and he won't show it to anyone until the premiere. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so then speaking of Walken, basically the end of the movie is they finally get to the premiere after, it gets a little generic with the rom-com of it all, where, he says something wrong. Basically, it's a stupid misunderstanding where Julia Roberts hears the wrong thing. She thinks he's, after them sharing a night together, he's going back to Catherine Zeta-Jones when that's not really the case. And it's a stupid, You have to swallow a little bit of castor oil in the conveniences, Tiki. You have to, but you get to the Christopher Walken bit where it all comes together. Christopher Walken premieres the movie, and basically the movie is like, it starts off as like the most generic, stupid like movie you've ever seen, but then footage cuts, and we reveal Christopher Walken, like he comes on screen saying, "This movie has been a guy, so I can do a secret expose on Hollywood movie, essentially." So it then turns into a documentary where we show like the behind the scenes footage, like the studio meddling, making everybody look bad. And John Cusack's loving it because it shows how much of a diva Catherine Zeta-Jones is. And then like how she cheated on him, and basically the whole thing's shown. It's a really beautiful moment. It's a lot of fun in that reveal. There are some weird bits, like Billy Crystal keeps getting attacked by a dog that is kind of into him. It's stupid, but the point being, the movie in itself, it's off the beaten path. It's not what you expect, but it's kind of fun.
Okay. Dragon, please, just like we don't need to go through like every movie like plot by plot beat, all right? Like let's trim these down a little if we can.
Okay.
We don't need to spend 5 minutes on America's Sweethearts, all right? Okay, so I Trapped the Devil. This is very much a Twilight Zone Hitchcock kind of thing, Dragon, and I honestly think you'd kind of dig it. I wouldn't classify it as horror. I definitely classify it as suspense over horror. Psychological thriller, maybe. Essentially what the premise of this is that a brother and his fiance come home for Christmas one night to the brother's mentally unhinged younger brother, right? Who's living by himself, and they haven't heard from him in a while. He comes home and things are just not right. You know, there's like the house is a mess. There's just suspicious things, like kind of like there's a chained up door. Things are just very, very suspicious when they show up. The brother doesn't want them there at all. He almost instantly shoos them off. And then the whole movie, we quickly realize that brother is kind of off his rocker just a little bit, Dragon, because the title is pretty accurate in his mind, at least. He has trapped a man in his basement cellar who he believes to be the devil. And so the whole movie is essentially this big struggle of, you know, the brother, the older brother and the fiance are like, that's crazy. We have to let him out right now. You know, like, what the hell are you talking about? And then the younger brother is like, no, like there's no way you are letting this guy out. If you let this guy out, we are all doomed. And so it feels like a play, Dragon. It feels like a play. It very much feels like something like Rope or something like that. You know, it's a bottle episode of a movie in a great way. I honestly think you'd like it. I don't really think there's anything that's that gratuitous about it. You don't really see the guy who's trapped all that often, but of course the guy who's trapped, there is very much a question mark of, you know, is he the devil? Is this real? Do we trust the crazy brother, or do we want to be on the side of the, you know, of the other brother and his wife, who are very much on the side of logic? It's a head trip, man. It'll keep you guessing until the end. And like I said, it just kind of employs all the best tricks of like Hitchcock and Psycho. Stuckman actually reviewed this movie last year, so I've been very much looking forward to seeing it. I finally got a chance to, so I'd recommend it. I like, for you, Dragon, I wouldn't like highly recommend it, but I'd still recommend it enough to say, like, I think you would like it if you gave it a chance.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Next one for me, Joe. And this it's a Nick Cage movie, and again, oddly enough, Joe Exotic, Joe, Small World.
Right.
So anyway,
Dragon, whenever I think of this movie, I just think it's like the Nicolas Cage version of the Matthew McConaughey movie Mud.
Well, I haven't seen Mud. My equivalent wasn't a bad equivalent. It's kind of like it's Nick Cage's version of Gran Torino, because he's mentoring a young kid and he's kind of taking under his wing, get him a job and everything.
In Mud, Matthew McConaughey is mentoring a young kid and taking him under his wing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so Nick Cage's Mud. Okay, it's a better comparison. Okay, let's just go with it. All right. Anyway, so basically, the kid that he's mentoring is Ty Sheridan. So a young Ty Sheridan.
Wait, I'm pretty sure Ty Sheridan was the kid in Mud.
Okay, don't get at it.
No, I'm pretty sure, Dragon. I'm pretty
Crazy.
damn sure.
Can't be.
I am pretty damn sure. Let me look this up.
Okay, anyway, so the young Ty Sheridan is in this.
Yes,
He's good.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. No, I'm not. In his filmography, it says 2012 Mud, 2013 Joe.
Oh my god. This is insane. This is insane. Okay, anyway, okay, so okay, just the point being, he's a lumberjack. He's like a chemical lumberjack. He doesn't essentially cut down the trees. They poison the trees, so they cut down on their own. He befriends the kid with an abusive father and takes him under his wing, basically he's the father figure to the kid. Now, here's a weird thing. Here's where it gets all cagey, man. They hire an actual
father check.
So the homeless the abusive father is played by an actual real life homeless man.
Oh wow, okay, that's interesting.
Who tragically died at the end of shooting. I mean, mini spoiler, kind of the way he dies in the movie, which is horrible and tragic. Anyway, point being, it's a nice little story. It's not great. Cage's performance is good. It has like weird cagey bits in there. Like, you know, he's visiting prostitutes and he's having dogs kill other dogs. It gets really strange. The heart of the piece is nice. The heart of the piece is there.
Version of the story, if I'm being honest with you.
What?
I said I think Mud is probably the more charming version of the story, if I'm being honest with you.
Sounds like it. I haven't seen it. It just sounds like identically the same movie, apparently, but I haven't seen it.
With a little less grit to it, honestly.
Apparently. So, anyways, it's kind of nice. At the core of it, it's nice, but it get definitely gritty. I'll give you that. Okay.
Okay. Oh boy, Dragon. Here we get to the killing of the sacred deer. Oh, I love this one. I love this one, Dragon. Oh man. Dragon, I will say I don't want to go as far as to say it would be in my top 20 movies of the decade, but I will go as far as to say if I watched this before we put together that list, I could see this slipping into like the 40 through 21 range easily. This is a hell of a movie, man. It really is. Of course, it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Dragon, does that name sound familiar?
He didn't do one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, did he?
No, not at all.
No,
not at
I
all.
got nothing. No, I got nothing.
He directed The Favorite in 2018.
Oh!
Yeah. And then also The Lobster.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal, Dragon. The Lobster and The Favorite are both movies I didn't really care for. They're movies that are very, very dark comedies, and they kind of just wear their cynical edge on their sleeve. Very stilted performances, intentionally stilted performances, very, very, very dry comedy. Killing of a Sacred Deer is a drama, and it's almost a horror movie. And I think that's the thing. Like while I didn't like the other two movies I saw from Lanthimos, I loved Killing of a Sacred Deer. All right, so Dragon, I'm going to make this as easy as I can to describe it to you because it's a weird movie with some twists and turns.
Okay.
So Colin Farrell plays an open heart surgeon, right?
Okay.
And he's kind of taken a boy under his wing, a 16-year-old boy. He's kind of taken him under his wing for reasons
we'll find out this month.
Right. This 16-year-old boy, when the movie first starts, he's got like an air of like demand to him, and you don't quite know what the relationship between Colin Farrell and this kid is. You're like, why is Colin Farrell, going with this kid? And why is Colin Farrell okay with this kid just showing up at the hospital? You don't know. It kind of builds a mystery. So come to find out, Dragon, and like I said, the movie does take its sweet time getting to this point. Come to find out, Colin Farrell was actually drunk on the operating table and killed this kid's father. And so Colin Farrell spending time with him is basically his really, really half-hearted way to be like, well, I killed your dad, but at least you can have me as a father figure, right, kid? I'll take you under my wing. So you know what I mean? It's just like a very shallow attempt to make things right. And long story short, Dragon, we don't know how this happens, but it quickly turns into a biblical parable. Both of Colin Farrell's kids lose their legs in terms of like they don't get their legs amputated. They just basically lose the ability to use their legs. They basically become paralyzed, and they lose the ability to eat. Now this the kid basically tells Colin Farrell that he has cursed the family. The kids will slowly die of starvation, and essentially both the kids will die unless Colin Farrell kills one of them. So it's a Sophie's choice.
Oh, God.
And Dragon, it gets so fucked up and delicious. Like, oh my God. Like, there's so great moments. Like, Colin Farrell is going to like a student teacher conference, and he's like, okay, but which one of them would you prefer if you had to choose one of them over the other? And then like there's this really fucked up scene where where the boy, it's a boy and a girl, like a 12-year-old boy and like a 14-year-old girl. The boy who's had this long shaggy hair that Colin Farrell's been complaining about, he actually like crawls out of bed, gets the scissors, cuts his hair, and then he's like, "Look, Dad, I cut my hair just like you said. Aren't you proud of me, Dad?" It's so great, Dragon. It's like these kids are just like in this hopeless situation. And then Nicole Kidman also plays Colin Farrell's wife. And oh god, it's Dragon, it's such a tense, like once you realize what's going on, which I will admit isn't until about halfway through the film, it is a slow build. But once you realize the extent of what's going on, it just gets crazy. And the ending is just like totally white knuckle to the core. Oh man. Like it makes me want to give The Lobster and The Favorite another shot because I love this so much. I don't know though, because like I said, The Lobster and The Favorite are both very much kind of like really, really dry satire. Whereas this one is not a satire, Dragon. This is a fucking biblical parable. And I love it, man. It's heavy, it's dark, but it's quirky at the same time. It's got killer performances from Nicole Kidman and Colin Farrell. Oh, I could keep going on about it. I will warn you, Dragon. I will warn you. If you do decide to watch it, there's one moment, and it comes right at the beginning, where I know you'll have a problem with it. In that, right at the beginning, we actually do get a real shot of an exposed heart during open heart surgery.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and the reason why that shot's there is to basically convey, like how fragile that heart is in the hands of the doctors. And it shows Colin Farrell taking off his bloody gloves and throwing away the bloody gloves. So
like
it's all very symbolic. It's all very symbolic. But Dragon, if you do happen to watch it, I would just recommend like fast forwarding a minute into it or so.
I'll take that under advisement because oh my god, it's like with Vice. As much as I love Vice, that heart sequence, man, I gotta block the screen.
Literally, it's just like Yorgos Lanthimos presents Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, Open Heart.
God. Anyway,
yeah. Okay. So I'll advise that.
All right.
But yeah, Dragon, that's about it for me in movies. So do you want to go rapid fire through the rest of yours? Please go as rapid fire as you can.
Yeah, yes, believe me, I am. These aren't really that defined. These are going to go by a lot faster. Okay. Okay, Listen to Me, Marlon. This is a documentary of Marlon Brando, but kind of his life and his kind of descent. Some would say in the madness. Some would say just kind of a descent in life. It's here's the really interesting thing. Here's the reason you might want to watch it, Tiki. It's kind of an informative documentary about Brando in his own words. They did a sit down interview with him, but here's the kicker: when they recorded the interview, they scanned his face. They scanned his face and recreated in CGI. So basically, what they did is he's become Marlon. He's become Jor-El from Superman, essentially. And they scanned him with kind of all his like list, like, giving the whole interview for the movie. We cut back to the screen a couple times of like a digital Marlon Brando, almost like Jor-El in the Fortress of Solitude, giving you his life story, which is awesome. So just check it out for that reason, man. That's all I got on that. Let's move on.
Okay, Wet Hot American Summer, that's one I've been intending on watching, but never got around to.
Yeah, for some reason, the movie, I don't know if the deal is, the series are on Netflix, but the movie isn't anymore. I don't know what the deal is. So that I kind of caught this while it was kind of available to me, so I could...
Netflix.
Yeah. Okay, so What About American Summer? So I saw the first movie, so eventually I can get to the series and stuff that's on Netflix. Let's see. So this is basically, it's a spoof and a satire on teen sex comedy movies. Like, it's like from 2001. It's got an all-star cast. You get your Paul Rudds, you got your Jeanine Garofalo's, you have your Chris Maloney's, Amy Poehler's, you name it, Bradley Cooper's, a whole bunch. And of course, one of our guys, Ken Marino from Agent Carter.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Point being, a whole bunch of stuff. It's definitely developed a cult following. Here's the thing. It's funny, but if I were to recommend a spoof comedy or like a satire to you, I would recommend Naked Gun way before I recommend you this. You know, not that this is bad. It's just if you're looking for like the best spoof, this is not it. I was hoping it was going to be a little clever. It's fine. It's funny. I mean, I'm hoping the series sells me a little bit more because right now I'm just kind of getting off like, hey, look, it's all these fun, familiar faces. David Hyde Pierce, of course, being my guy. He's my favorite part. He and Jeanine Garofalo have a romance, which is quite nice. It's basically we have some excuses for camp set pieces. That's the thing. I wish there was a little bit more to the plot in a sense. Like a few things just like generic camp things, and they're aware of it. They're painfully aware of it, and they're doing the best they can with it. So I don't hold any ill will. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Asher, what's the deal with this one?
I really recommend this one to you, Tiki. I'm going to try to keep this simple. Okay, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman as the star of this. He plays an ex-Mossad agent, turned hitman. He's an ex, like essentially an ex spy from Israel, I think, is Mossad. Anyway, so he's turned to a hitman. He operates out of Brooklyn, and it's a really nice love story. It's a slice of life thing, like a hitman slice of life story. A little bit of Barry.
I was gonna say, like, why does it have to be a generic Hitman movie?
Yeah, it's not. It's really
Okay, good.
This is what I'm saying. So he's a hitman, but it's like a hitman. The best way I can describe it, he's very Mike Ehrmantraut-esque. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. He's very Mike Ehrmantraut-esque. He's a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. He's an older man. He's very smart. Again, it's like he's not like it's not like a balls to the walls action movie. He does he does stuff, but very much like a few little sniper stuff like Mike. He does a little bit of that. And he's falling for Famke Jensen. Famke Jensen from Taken and from the X-Men movie. She's really good in the two. She's the love interest, and the two of them strike up a really nice. It's an unconventional love story with him being a hitman. A little bit of Barry in there. Question like, is there redemption for someone in his line of work? Can he? Is there any happiness in his future for a morally broken character? I love the dinner invitation runner. He invites you to dinner, and it's like he says, you can come if you come at this time. I'll have dinner for two waiting. It's a really nice runner. He has no idea if she's ever going to come to his place or take him up on his offer. He makes dinner for two each night. It's really sweet. I love the movie. I recommend it to you. Okay.
Hearts of Atlantis, Dragon. This is a movie I remember coming out back in the day, like way back in the early 2000s, and it's honestly one of the first times as a kid I realized that Stephen King wrote stuff other than horror.
Yeah, see, my preferred Stephen King is not the horror stuff. I like your Shawshanks, your Green Miles, your this, Hearts in Atlantis. I meant to say In Atlantis, by the way. It's not. I kept thinking it was on, but apparently it's in. Anyway, a little factoid. Okay. So this is based on an anthology story of Stephen King. That kind of combined a couple chapters from an anthology story, and it's really good, man. So this feels like the most overlooked Stephen King thing you probably ever come across. It's Anthony Hopkins and the young, and this is the big thing that kind of sold me on it. Anton Yelchin. I think I keep saying Yelnich, but I think it's Yelchin. Anyway, that guy,
Yelchin,
young.
Yeah.
The last thing I saw Yelchin in was the animated show he did, Guillermo del Toro's DreamWorks animated show on Netflix, which is really good. He was the lead in it. He's really good in it. Anyway, so Yelchin, I don't know if this is like the first thing he ever did, but it's him as a child star, and basically he kind of yet again, a stranger takes this kid under his wing.
Oh, God.
I don't know, folks. It's just the stars aligned this month. And the Stephen King supernatural quality is that apparently Hopkins really slyly, he is a little psychic. He has a little bit of a psychic ability. And he kind of befriends the kid. The kid doesn't have a father, and the kid wanted to know his father. His mother's always said he was a degenerate gambler, and he kind of finds out that wasn't the truth. We have kind of the Stephen King staples with kind of the parental relationships and the bully. We have like a really sadistic bully character. As you tend to do. It's really nice. It's just again, it's kind of it's a really nice friendship that struck up between the two of them. I like he kind of helps the boy mature through the course of the story. Like he kind of the kid kind of has a crush that he kind of hits on, and like he kind of teaches the kid some life lessons along the way. Nice stuff. He really has Yelnich he's really gold in the movie, man. I don't want to undersell that Yelchin. He's really good. He chews at his mother in this really good scene where his mother is like really concerned with her self-interest before the kids, and he just calls her out on it. It's a really good scene. Good stuff. Underrated movies. My favorite scenes with Alan Tudyk in the movie at the carnival. I'll say that much. I recommend this one to you too, Tiki. It's really good.
Okay.
Don't listen to the critics, man. It's a good one. Okay, The Report. The Report. This is a movie on Amazon starring Adam Driver. This is based on a true story. He plays a Senate staffer and analyst who essentially is conducting an investigation, basically about the post 9/11 torture tactics, the questionable war on terror tactics. And Amazon, they're really good at the political thriller stuff. Look at Jack Ryan. Look at stuff with John Krasinski. It's in their wheelhouse. I think Adam Driver is really good in the movie. It's kind of I love the passage of time. The movie takes place over 5 years, and it kind of goes past him. And the idea it's like an uphill battle trying to expose the truth of our people were torturing other people. We broke the rules, man. That's not right. And like we get into this really heady portion where like Zero Dark 30 comes out within this 5-year time span, basically saying like, hey, all the actions were in the right, and this is what actually happened when in reality, not what actually happened. Really crazy stuff, man. Just Amazon, they're really good at this sort of stuff, and it's not the most exciting movie, but it's quite good.
How's Driver?
Again, he's excellent, man. A Driver, he just plays a man like he's a dog with a bone in terms of exposing the truth, and he goes. It's him and Annette Bening as his boss. I think he's really good. It's like not as good as Marriage Story, but he is rather good.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're gonna watch it for Driver. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, lastly, this will go by real quick. Turtle Power.
I think I've seen this one before, actually, Dragon. I'm pretty sure.
Great. Okay, so Turtle Power. This is the definitive history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A little documentary on the Ninja Turtles. Really nicely constructed documentary, but far from definitive, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I feel the Toys That Made Us covered more ground, and that's only half an hour. It's not a. What does that?
I know it's weird. The Toys That Made, and honestly, I feel like the Toys That Made Us. I don't want to like shine any shade on that show, but like I think sometimes it doesn't exactly have the most comprehensive, histories of the subject matter. But the Ninja Turtles episode is probably the best episode of that whole series, I would say.
Capture the whole rise and fall of the friendship, which I really loved, and
put on it.
And again, this captures that as well. But I'm saying one, it's not up to date as that one is. But even so, there were a lot of animated stuff. We glossed over a lot of the animated stuff. Basically, all we covered was creation of the Turtles, the comics, the movie, and just the first animated series. It's all the ground we covered, which certainly we're missing portions of that.
Mm.
So again, it's good. It's well made. Just again, not definitive from it by any stretch, which is kind of a shame when they put that right in the title.
Okay, that means there's only one more thing for us to do, Dragon. That's best or worst. I'll go first. Best one for me, easily Killing of a Sacred Deer. I mean, that was probably the only movie I saw this month where I really perked up and I was like, oh man, like, yeah, I'll remember that one. That, it'll stick with me, Dragon, for sure. Worst, I'm gonna have to go with Spies in Disguise. I mean, I love Spies in Disguise just because it did give me a project that I wrote out that was a lot of fun to do, and the Will Smith pigeon memes, that's fun. But man, as a movie itself, it's a pretty damn unmemorable animated film. It's a movie of almost zero substance.
We're just lumping them all in for simplicity's sake.
Yeah, we're just lumping them all in. Yeah.
I would say best thing was Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Worst thing, without a second's hesitation, Coffee and Cream. I'm
gonna have to check out this Coffee and Cream, Dragon.
Just terrible. Not good.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for sticking with us for about half of this. Claude Coringa, Monkey, and Pink Pearl. Well, folks, we've waxed on long enough, and it's time to put the pen down. Until next time, when we return for another fitting chapter in our Movie Memoirs! Ah! Carol Baskin!
God.